Welcome to season 7, episode uno. One. Uno's not in this
One.
chapter though.
Back to one.
Back to one.
This is Sarah.
Tonight we are covering the prologue, since it is half the book of A Crown of Swords.
Feels like it.
No,
It's a long one.
this is the continued epilogue of Lord of Chaos.
Yeah. Lord of Chaos 2.0 extended. Yeah. Director's cut. I like the name, Ian. Like it. So before we get into anything else, a few housekeeping things. We do have some new Patreons. So 3 new Patreons. Hannah, L Walking, and First Age Brigitte. And then Kylie and Scooter McGavin both upped their patron levels. So thank you guys. You guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh. The Hannah, the Brigitte, and the Scooter and
Kylie and L Walking.
yeah, this episode's dedicated to you. Thank you guys.
Yeah, that's all for
This
you.
is your episode.
As far as other announcements or things coming up, we had Water of Fortune last weekend. Go check it out. It was amazing. Delusions of Grendel 1. And speaking of DOG Delusions, we will be on her show in like 2 weeks or something like that. The 14th.
That'll be exciting.
So Feather and Mountain podcast.
Nice.
We're going to be on there.
Do we know what we're talking about? Is that released?
Episode 7 of the TV show. We have to go back and rewatch it.
Okay.
About it.
Ooh,
I think it's
Okay, caught
episode. I'll go back and check and make sure that's the right episode. But I think
Hey.
that's it.
Give me a
If it's
chance to
7,
prepare.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll get Blitz now. Be fun.
lots of things to say.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So, also we have guests tonight. We have Mr. Fancy Pants.
How's it going? It's good to be back.
The Bard of the Red Hand.
The Bard of the Red Hand here on YouTube.
You may know him from YouTube, or most likely from every con that there is for Wheel of Time.
I do
because
try
he's
to go
always
to all of them.
He's always very involved with them, or at least everywhere. Every time I turn around, Vance is there. So, do you have clones or doppelgangers, or like how does that work?
No, I don't. It's funny you ask me that, Alan, because I feel like I ask you that all the time with how many things you have your hands in. I mean, how many spreadsheets are you up to now? Do you got like 1.5 million sitting somewhere? Do you
How
have a
many
spreadsheet
tabs?
to?
How many
Yeah,
tabs?
well, how many?
I-
do you have a
I've-
spreadsheet to track how many spreadsheets you have at this
There's a
point?
formula that joins them all together. He could search
Uh-huh.
all of them through
Yeah.
one spreadsheet.
Jeez, you need to get on some of these like big
Actually,
data
yeah,
cloud
you can't connect
platforms.
them off for a pivot table.
Yeah.
So also during the stream, what holiday? Actually, I won a giveaway.
Yeah.
So they did it's 8 frosty mugs of your choice. So
What?
Yeah, 8. So you can like collect
That's
them all
awesome.
if you want to. So I was thinking of like which 8 do I want? And one of my mods was like, why don't you just get 8 of yours and then give them away? And I was like, Jordan Con, we're coming with 8 mugs. So we'll come up with something fun.
Hey.
That
We'll
is
come up
such a
with something
Will
fun.
Reeds thing to do. That's what we do. We got stuff. All right, we're giving it away.
Give it away.
Yep.
I don't need it.
That's awesome.
So I'm
My
gonna
wife
go
let me have it
order.
anyway.
I'm gonna order 8 Will Reeds. Grab your floaties or the regular Will Reeds mugs, and we'll have them at JordanCon, and we'll come up with some kind of way that you can win those.
I haven't made Ian grab his floaties in a while.
My first idea was vetoed by the mods. So which was do a hurricane shot with us. If you haven't done a hurricane shot, you take a shot of tequila, then you throw water in someone's face and smack them across the face, and that's a hurricane shot. It's for a mug, but they said they're like, no, that's not.
Well,
that's not
yeah.
okay.
So, just so y'all are aware, they're like a $24.99 value. So it may be
Hey,
worth.
yeah.
I got them back there behind a bunch of because if you look behind me, I have like tons of bins and boxes behind because we're decorating for Christmas. So
Yay.
it's and we're remodeling at the same time because that's what you do this time of year, right?
Well,
So
I mean, that's
people
what
behind
you
me
do,
see mine
Alan.
up.
That's what you do all the time. It's like, oh, 16
Apparently.
projects, no problem. I just won't sleep.
Yeah. So I have
Alan-
contractors in my house all day long right now. So I'm just going. Yeah, go ahead.
I
What's up?
hate to tell you this, Alan, but your modeling days are behind you. You might want to move on to something else.
Oh,
You
Remodel.
can't remodel that. It's,
As a hand model once. And
Nice and in. So soft. So
very
soft.
distinguished looking.
yeah, it's when I invented the piano tie. I don't know what Zoolander's We personal life. We are remodeling our downstairs bathroom and doing a bunch of repairs. So we have contractors in the house doing all that stuff. They've demoed the entire bathroom right now, so I have like plastic sheeting all. I have to walk around it to get into the office because keep the dust down. But it's been demoed completely. New tile, new toilets, new vanity, everything. Just we're redoing it. So
it's not going to be the 16 gallons per flush anymore.
I don't know. But the toilet we bought, and all of them advertise this. It said on the thing advertise you can flush an entire basket of golf balls. I was like, bet. First thing I'm doing.
Yeah, you're still going into that Hilton plumbing once it hits the street. So good luck with that.
I don't know if our main drain is terracotta or not. Some of the houses around here have clay. The old terracotta main drains going out to the street. It's such an old neighborhood. But the problem with those is the roots eventually grow through them because they're clay.
And once they collapse, they collapse the entire way.
That actually happened at the last place I lived before we bought our house. We lived in this little converted garage apartment. House was built in 62 or something like that. It had that, and the trees grew all up, and boom, cracked that pipe.
My first house I lived in, which is one street over from where I live now. Same thing, and actually we moved in November, and of course we're using toilets, taking showers, all that great stuff. And then on Christmas Day, I go to start taking a shower, and the shower starts to back up, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's clogged. Then I started to wash my hands, and I was shaving, so I had the sink running. That's what it was, and that started backing up, and I was like, why is everything backing up? So I went downstairs and went into our utility room, and our utility room was flooded with sewage. It was just
utility room lowest point in their house there. So all the nasty stuff came out.
So I had to call a plumber on Christmas Day, which if you know how much plumber costs on Christmas Day, it's like, I'll do it.
Wait until 2 days later.
I'm on my way. It's going to cost you 4.5 times normal.
Yeah, exactly. So so we had a plumber come out and do it, auger the line because it was full of roots. So fun times. That was years. That was 15 years ago now.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Fun times. But but that's what's going on in my house and my world is just construction and Christmas decorating, because we can't finish decorating until the construction's done. So we're doing it piecemeal where we can. Everything's everywhere and nothing's nowhere. It's like the beginning of the universe. Everything was
there is no
everything,
time,
but there's nothing, but there's everything.
It was a remodeling, lowercase a italicized.
Right. There was no beginning nor ending to this process. How about you guys? What's going on in personal life? What's going on in your world?
Let me tell you, y'all are gonna be surprised because I'm very chipper right now. I'm in a great mood. This is why I know I need to go back to therapy. I have poison ivy everywhere. It's on my face. It's around this eye. I don't know if y'all could tell. It's a little swollen. It's just starting to get better, but it was almost swollen shut. I have it around this ear. It's really uncomfortable. I have these headphones on. Like an idiot, after I touched poison ivy, not knowing I was in it, I again peed outside. This is the second time in 2 years that I've had poison ivy on my crotch. It's horribly uncomfortable. Worst ever. I'm almost a full month into still not getting paid for my civilian job because they can't quite figure out how to code the type of orders I was on and blah, blah, blah. But I keep getting the phone calls of, hey, don't worry. We know you have enough leave. We'll be able to backdate it. Eventually, you're going to get paid, which is true. I know eventually I will get paid, but just, some of y'all out there might be rolling in cash, but consider going a month with zero additional income. And we're coming up on Christmas. It's getting so interesting. And then today we went to a funeral. Meredith's grandfather passed away. And well, that's sad. It's, there's a lot of conversation, he was in his mid 90s, and at least for me, those type funerals are always easier. Lived a great life, full life, just a jolly guy, never met somebody that wasn't a friend, kids, grandkids, great grandkids, the whole shebang. So it was fairly joyful. There were sad moments, and he did like 20 some years in the Air Force, so they had the military honors, which I was fine through the whole thing. But then they do the gun salute and playing the taps, and I always lose my shit with that. But anyway, so that all of that's been going on, and yet for some reason I get back home, and we're already mostly decorated for Christmas. And we watched a Christmas movie tonight. We watched Home Alone with the kids while eating dinner, in front of the TV, and just
One or
man.
two. One or two.
Oh, I'm really gonna throw you for a loop, and don't judge me. It was one of the newer Home Alones.
Oh,
You are being judged.
I didn't even know. Now, here's the thing: I didn't even know there were newer Home Alones. I was like, "But isn't Macaulay Culkin like 80 years old now? Why are they still doing?" They're like, "No, it's
I don't think he's
people."
Yeah,
I was like, "Wait,
since
what?"
the second one.
Someone mumbled that the new ones are better, and I screamed blasphemy, and I threw stuff at them like holy water and stuff. It was good, but it was not. I don't think you could ever beat the first Home Alone. And the second Home Alone was good too, but you can't beat the first Home Alone. It was great. Anyways, but that's my life. I'm positive, optimistic. I'm feeling great. Everything's going horribly wrong. Oh, we have 3 vehicles. We have what was Ryder's, but he can't drive now. That's a long story. So Meredith's been using it as a commuter since it's good on gas. I've got my little Mitsubishi that's great on gas. And then we have the Pathfinder. That's the one when we got everybody, all the kids, we need something to fit everybody in. The Ryder's car needs a valve adjustment, and it could be timing. And I'm terrified to start digging into it because if it's timing, I don't know if I can afford that right now, time-wise and financially. My car needs tires all around. They're balding, about to explode everywhere. And then the Pathfinder needed brakes all around. And I ordered the parts and I was doing it myself, brakes and rotors. And I got 3 of them done. And the very last one, there's a caliper bolt that they either put Loctite on there or they cross-threaded it and then sunk it down with an impact. And I've been whacking at it with 2 different impacts. It's not budging at all. So now I had to piece together the brakes back on that one. I got to take it to a shop and they either got to torch it and whack it or just break it. And now I have to do calipers if I have to
Mm.
do that. And now
Chris, when's the next time we come into town? We get a good big breaker bar. Get Chris on there.
We'll get
I do got a good sized breaker bar. If you could put a little something on it, Chris, because with my bad back and trying to get under there. Anyways, but despite all that, I'm in such a great mood. I think I'm going crazy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, everything just froze on my end. Nope.
Oh.
It's coming back now.
I was just talking over you because I was disrespecting you. That's all.
I know. It's all good. I love you. But I will let you know that I have definitely been in that position where I've had to be somebody's strong arm, and I do not mind throwing my weight behind it. So
yeah. And if we break it, we're just going to push it in the creek down here, take the plates off. So
No. That's when you call it stolen, and then when it comes back, it's been flooded.
Bro, we'll talk offline. Remember, we're all from Newport News. I know how this works. Oh no, I'm a victim.
Speaking of things being flooded, we had to buy a new mattress this week because I allowed somebody to stay in my house to take care of my animals, and they did not take care of my animals really at all. And my animals decided that my bed was a litter box.
With cats, you ain't getting rid of that smell.
No.
Yep.
No, and I did try. I doused it in all sorts of chemicals. And
Also,
cleaned it and
also a thing about cats as well. And my cat does this. It's not necessarily that they view it as litter box. It might be spite as well. Like if you leave them, they get pissed and then they'll start shitting everywhere.
They were mad at you. Yeah.
Like my contractor's doing stuff right now. My cat is pissed. So like, he's just shitting everywhere. And I'm like,
my favorite's when it's a clean litter box and they poop right in front of the litter box. Just like I know I was supposed to go in there, but I'm just telling you, I'm not happy right now.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes.
And so that's why I know that they weren't taken care of, because when we were gone on our honeymoon and they were younger, no issues. And this time we were gone a couple days less, and we had to buy a new mattress. So we got a great night's sleep last night. We needed a new mattress, but we needed 6 more months before we bought this new mattress. And so now we are where we are. We luckily like Mattress Firm does 36 months 0 interest. So yeah, sure, I'll take your free money for 3 years.
There you go.
Got to. Well, because mattresses, like so many things in life, you get what you pay for, and sleep is important. And the good ones are not cheap, but you've got to.
Village Mattress probably would have cut you a good deal if he's in chat.
Yeah, I bet you they would ship to North Carolina.
They're in Indiana, I think, but I think they'll ship anywhere.
I bet they know somebody.
Well, anyway, other than that, just life is slowing down a little bit for me, which is new. I don't have much to say other than training at the new job and enjoying it and working the teller line just because they let me, even though who knows what they're supposed to be. But they need the help that bad that they're letting me handle all the money and have all the fun. So
it's cool that you're getting into the financial world right before the collapse of the worldwide economy. Like you're gonna have a front row seat. It's gonna be so awesome.
Has it become monopoly money for you yet? Because it usually only takes about a week or two before the money doesn't even bother you anymore.
When you start seeing crazy amounts and you're like, yeah, well, last week I did.
When you start handling 50, when somebody comes in and asks for 50 grand, it's like,
you kind of cry a little bit. you're like, I can give it to you.
No, I mean, this is really like years and years ago. I worked at a bank, and it had it was one of the busiest banks on the entire East Coast. And on a Friday shipment, when the money came in the armored truck, like literally you would have a couple $1 million in cash just laid out for you to count it. And they just they were just walking by it like, oh, we'll count it later. It's just this giant stack of money. Just we don't carry. Well, I don't know how much we carry in the vault, to be honest with you, because that has not been disclosed to me. But
if you're telling the new guy,
it's usually classified. You probably shouldn't say on here.
If you're telling the new guy, then you let me know which bank that is, because they don't care about security.
Yeah. That's the whole thing is the vault's closed during people don't realize that either. Like the vault's closed during the day. There's 2 codes to get into it. There's a timer on it. Like by the time, if anybody comes in the rob a bank, and sorry, this is where I'm going to tell you a little trade secret. If you try to rob a bank and you ask to get in the vault, the cops are going to be there before they even can open the vault. So
there's no hope these days. There's no hope.
The amount of sound alarms and everything inside the bank, they're going off as soon as you walk in.
Yeah, your best bet's just to take out of the cash drawer, which isn't a lot.
Which is usually not a lot of money at all. And you're going to go to jail for a very long time for not
very long time.
Yeah,
very long
worth
time.
it. That's why I'm going back to trains. Trains is where it's at.
Yeah. Planes and trains.
Disconnect one of those cars. Rail cars and get the merchandise off of it. Yeah.
What was that movie? It was based on a true story with Zach Galifianakis, where he worked for an armored car company and then robbed the armored car company. It's based on a true story. Like he was an idiot.
Yeah, I forget.
And they actually didn't follow up with it because he was so dumb that they were like, the cops were like, this can't be real, like kind of thing. Like, and it took them a long to catch him because they're like, there's no way. Like.
On that note, one more month of growth, hair and beard, and I will become Zach Galifianakis. So I'm making my transition. It's almost there.
Yeah.
You're the one knocking my shit out of whack. Say hello to the culprit.
There we go. You don't hear about bank robberies? They just don't make the news anymore. They happen.
Oh, yeah. They do
People try. They just don't get anywhere with it.
I was about to say, they're just not big. Like,
I mean, what we typically have in our anyway, continue. Prologue. Trust me, if I robbed my own bank, I would be happy. How was your life?
Life's good. I just recently got over COVID. It's my first confirmed bout of it because I think I caught it way back in like late 2019, early 2020, before we really knew what was going on.
A lot of people,
yeah, and then but we didn't have home tests to verify or validate or anything back then, so I just thought it was sick. But this time, confirmed, caught COVID, took a flight back home, and like one of 4 people wearing masks on the plane, and I still caught it.
Yeah.
So, that sucks.
I mean, it's just a plane is just like the worst place to be when there's any kind of sickness going around.
Yeah.
So you're just strapped in a tin can with everybody, and they recycle the air over. It's like being on a submarine. It's like,
Sure.
Yeah.
So I was sick for about 4 or 5 days. That was terrible, but I'm better now.
Yay.
Life is good again, except for the weather. The weather has been miserable. It's very cloudy and misty and chilly, and I very much like a sunshiny day. And so it's been a little rough for me. A little rough.
Chris and I are going to bring you a little sunshine tonight. So
There you
don't
go.
you worry about
Yeah.
it. Just don't look at Alan's screen. Dark friends only bring darkness.
Right, of course.
Chris and I
But,
get the sunshine.
But yeah, other than that, I've just been at home chilling. Yeah,
Cool.
we're decorated for Christmas. We got it all up.
Cool,
Despite
cool.
being sick, so that put us in a little bit of a holiday mood.
It's always awesome.
Yeah.
All of our Christmas stuff is up too. So
Yeah. Almost all of it. Almost all of ours is. There's a few things that I have to wait for the contract to be done, but we'll get there. So you guys ready for prologue? Prologue. A
see,
Crown
now
of
this
Swords?
village
Prologue.
mattress will not give you prices. They want you to call in and ask for a quote.
Call them and tell them you know them Leaf Brothers
Yeah. Tell me another way to leave, and they're gonna be like,
and see what they say.
Really?
I want to know. Yeah, man.
yeah.
Just say I know the way to leave, and I'm on the Wheel Reads podcast.
You've been on, and you've been on the Way of the Leaf.
Yeah,
on their show. So like,
And
you've
I
gotta get the
believe
extra
they're actually
extra
one of our patrons.
Oh man, call them up,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, they actually are. One of our, yeah, I think they are. They're one of our old school, been around for a while. One of our
Yeah.
OG.
Tell them if they want me to stay here on Tuesday nights. I need a new mattress.
Yes, Village Mattress has been a patron of ours since December 22nd, 2020. So they are.
Oh man, that's
they're almost
fantastic.
going on 2
Wait,
years.
is it owned by the Way of the Leaf? What am I
No.
missing?
They're just fans of the Way to Leave. They're there every week.
Village Mattress is very prominent within the community, and he gives a bunch of money to all the charity events we do.
Yeah, I was
he
seeing
darn.
that.
Sponsors the Way of the Leaf.
It's great.
Well,
Yeah.
shit. If you're listening to this,
Chris is about to give you a call.
Chris just happens
do
to
you
be
ship to Charlotte?
in the market for a new mattress.
Do you have Alaskan Kings? That's what Chris.
We've gone beyond the California.
Oh,
king
yeah.
now.
Oh, yeah.
No,
We're
there-
the Alaskan
there's
king.
California, and then I think Montana, and then Alaska King.
Is that a real thing?
I might have the middle one wrong.
I was about
But
to
yeah,
say Montana's smaller than
Alaskan-
California.
Well, but bed size. It might be one of the Dakotas. I don't know, but it's one of those. you
It's
know.
somewhere else.
Oh, the King mattress for heavy people.
No,
Just don't get
We
the
love
Rhode
Chris,
Island King because that's like it's
That's tiny.
it's the V birth, and nobody wants the V birth.
Anyways, lightnings. Prologue lightnings.
Boom.
We start with Elida, our favorite.
Foundation is 5 times stronger than the. I'm sorry, you just opened my world to something I needed for a very long time. Like we are taking the Wheel of Reeds on an adventure because I have been over 300 pounds since I was in the 8th grade.
Mm.
That's literally been almost 23 years.
Yeah,
I can't believe we didn't
use
think of making a call to Village Mattress before when we were talking about how many beds you've broken. Not even
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
from activities, just like hanging out.
Just
In 'em.
in general, just laying. Just
Yeah.
boom, bed frame falls apart.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah.
Big fig. That's another one. Wow. Thank you.
There you go.
Anyway,
anyway. So Elida.
Speaking of worthless things, let's talk about Elida.
She's overseeing the grand construction of her Amelen's Palace, which is gonna be taller than the White Tower. Because
Hold
yeah.
up to 2,000 pounds.
Can I just say,
Chris
Can I
is
just
really
say-
excited about this mattress, y'all.
Chris, you keep reading. I'll make a good point, and you could keep doing some research.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna just say, so when I first went to Iraq, it was 2006 to 2008, and then the surge was summer of 2000.
Wow, they are shack size, 9 foot by 9 foot.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you
For the
blew
big
my
boys.
mind. Continue. You were in Iraq.
No, you're good. And so our brigade came to support, a different area there, and there was this other commander that came in that I don't know if he just happened to outrank our brigade commander, or maybe it was at, the division level. I don't know. But it was a really shitty time there. Like horrible. Like everything was going wrong before the surge. And when this commander came in, there were emails going out about how we should be wearing our reflective PT belts when we're walking around the Victory Base complex and some of these other larger installations. And I'm like, how are you going to show up in charge of this shit show that's going on and you're dedicating time? Like, there had to be meetings about this. He spent brain cells on this. He probably brought people in this room to discuss it before the email was sent, and then sent something out about PT belts. How is Elida looking at the world that's happening around her?
The flare.
And that's what I'm saying.
The flare's supposed to be personalized.
Shit's hitting the fan, and she's like, I want the tallest tower. Or no, I need the highest balcony and the tallest tower so I could get a good view. That's her focus. By the way, the Ogiers can't help. I'm going to just threaten the Master Mason here to figure that shit out. And but Aes Sedai did some of this back in the day, so I'll just task a few Aes Sedai to kind of figure that shit out. Meld some stones together. What if she accidentally stumbles into an important role and does important stuff? I'm going to be mad. I may have spoke too soon in the first book when I said Pater is the worst dark friend ever. Elida might be. If she actually manages to do something significant, she might be the worst in a very annoying way. She's worthless. That's all I have to say about that. Chris, what do you think?
And they're made in North Carolina.
Oh, shit.
Bruh. They're even made in North Carolina.
Which means the shipping cost is going to be low.
Nothing. Yeah.
So Chris didn't hear anything.
That's what I
said.
think about a lot.
So,
No,
I said she's kind of worthless.
I thought the same thing as you. I was honestly confused because when I read through it, I was like, there's no way that there's literal wars going on around her. Maybe we're getting a jump in the future. Maybe like it skipped that far ahead and stuff went down enough to where like Rand's taking a break from things. The Dark Lord is chilling in his hole. And Elida's like, all right, time for me to show how awesome I am. And then to find out like this is during the midst of all of the crazy. It's like, for real? This is what you choose to do? But then again, if you want people to buy into what you want them to buy into, then you keep things as normal as possible. And for her, normal is making herself outlandishly important.
I want to be the most important historical figure in this moment.
Like, I'm gonna be the one to lead the
all the books will be written about me. Like,
exactly.
Everyone will say my name when they talk about this time in
and
history.
When you look at this tower, I want you to see me. I want you to think about me. I want you to think about the great things I did, because in her mind, it's very small stuff happening, and she's going to control Rand and mold him and shape him into the winner, and then she's going to steal him and then be in charge of everything.
The trouble is, I'm going to make this point, and then I'm going to go back for a second. The trouble is, I think a part of me wanted to think that. But then as we read along, we're finding out how her desire for power and how she wants to be seen in a certain way, and she feels threatened, and she knows her authority is threatened, and her lack of humility, she doesn't know enough, and she knows she doesn't know enough, and still she's trying to push this narrative. Like, she knows she doesn't have the communication network that the former Amyrlin had, or that some other Ajahs are known for. But instead of trying to either reestablish that or talk to somebody that's already in her network to try and get better information, she just acts like she knows. So she's going through these motions to try and look like a badass Amyrlin and try to make the history books, but she's just legit clueless about everything that's going on in the world.
I can just picture her like in a Cartman voice going, "Respect my authority."
Yeah, yes, seriously.
She's like, I want luxurious cashmere, organic
it's-
cotton. Like, I want the finest of materials in
So
my tower.
I do want to point out that I don't necessarily think she's oblivious to what's going on.
Oh
out
no,
there.
not at
I
all.
think
Not
she's
100%.
she's so arrogant. She thinks it's all going to be okay once she has everything in her hands.
Well,
Right.
Remember, she's expecting Galena to come back with the Dragon Reborn
Right.
in a box.
In a box.
In a box.
And she's
And
reading the
deliver it to
report.
her. Right.
Yeah,
and
and
she's
she's reading
feeling
the report, and she's-
real confident until, up until she gets to the part. So she's riding high right there at that moment.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
yeah, I
she's
completely
like,
agree with you. Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be fine. I'm on top of
Yes.
the world. We're just gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna be terrible.
And in that moment, she was on top of the world. She literally, for about 15, 20 minutes or so,
14 minutes and 30 seconds. But
Something
I mean,
like that,
14
yeah.
minutes and 30 seconds from the start of the prologue, but
Prologue,
like,
and then it fell
And
apart.
the
she
grand
was
scheme of things,
feeling that
about a
way
month.
for weeks. She was
Yeah,
feeling
I
that
was
way
gonna say
for
about a
weeks
month.
beforehand.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then
I will
it
say
went
this.
down.
At this point, Gawyn, remember they were talking about how she has to be seen in the world to get the rest of this world to kind of respect her as the Amerlin. She really, the bar is now set kind of low because she's no longer battling for respect as the Amerlin. She's not battling Elida anymore. I don't think anybody that actually meets these two or watches how they operate will go, no, Elida is the better Amerlin. She's battling the history of what the White Tower was because she's not physically sitting there. So that's the only thing she has to overcome anymore. So I think
I don't know that
things
to be
got
true.
easier for Gawyn.
If you look
if
at
people got to know-
Elida, though, Elida has been in court. And she knows how to manipulate the court. As where Gawyn has been a country bumpkin turned warrior mage, essentially.
who's going to co-sign for a court time? When they call for a reference, they're going to call Elaine, Morgase. You think Elaine and Morgase are going to be like, oh yeah, you're calling about Elida?
But when
Yeah,
it comes
she
to
was
the
great.
manipulation, it's
Yeah.
going to be like, playing stones here. She's going to know how to manipulate the pieces to get people to do what she wants. It's where Gwen's going to be like, this is what you need to do because it needs to be done. How often do people do what needs to be done because it has to be done?
That's true.
People do what they need to do because they get something out of it.
Yeah, you got to motivate them. And usually,
if everybody wants to continue to listen to me, I need you guys to send me each $100.
Yeah, right.
These luxurious beds are like the minimum cost is $32.50.
We'll be posting the GoFundMe link for a big boy bed. For Chris.
Yeah, the Grand Lux is $10,000.
I'll chip into that. Because I need you to get
for
good
a
sleep.
mattress. That thing better last for the rest of my life.
And that sleep better be so good you don't ever wake up again.
You better be able to look at it and know that it is the biggest, baddest bed. Just like Elida saying about her tower, it is the biggest, baddest tower. This better be the biggest, baddest bed around.
And Chad's pointing out right now, she's building on the water training grounds. Like, because who needs water? She's a red. They don't.
She's a red.
Exactly.
Oh, I did think of that. Yeah, that.
They don't need waters.
Just so many. So, how we talk about the cockiness of Aes Sedai in general. The cockiness of the Reds is just kind of exponential. I think kind of the theme, no, it's not fair to say. There might be a sub theme going on in these books of kind of that Star Wars metachlorian type, everything's connected, there's balance with everything. Well, even if you look at the symbol for the male and the female, it's the yin yang sort of, like there's balance. But the most imbalanced thing is the White Tower, and the most imbalanced thing within the White Tower are the Reds. Like they refuse any sort of companionship or relationship with men. And there's a lot of animosity between them and even like the other sisters that might think differently. They're the ones that are in the silo with the way they think and unbudging. So I mean that's just in this world seems like a recipe for disaster. So it wasn't surprising when they started talking about the building over the water grounds, but that definitely jumped out as like, well, I mean, how could you so now you're not just writing off all these other enemies that you have, you're writing off a significant portion of the lives of a lot of the other Ajah.
But I mean,
And
think
how
about
they're-
her response to. First off, she's in control. The White Tower will be whole again.
Throw some air
Second-
quotes on there.
Yeah. Second, she's like,
control.
the Black Tower, these men, really? Like,
Mhm.
they've only been training for months. So what are they going to do against us?
Let's
She's
go
so
squash them
quick-
with a couple of
she's
people.
so yeah, she's so
Exactly.
quick to dismiss every report. I mean, when Alviarn comes in and says the first thing she says is like Elaine and Nynaeve are in Abu Dar, they're posing as full sisters. She's like, no, they're not. And like she's like, no, here's a picture. And like, and she gets like upset about it. She's like I don't believe anything you say. Okay, what do you
Yeah,
deal with
she's
the
like,
Black
hold
Tower?
on,
They
There's
did all
not-
that.
I mean,
With hold on, with this magical new glass Terran Grial, they've posted a TikTok of themselves showing that they're posing as full sisters. Nah, they're not. It's whatever.
That's not
that's
true.
right. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I
whatever.
love what is her name? The one that is the keeper
Alviarn.
Alvier.
Alviarin.
Alviar.
Thank you.
She's effing with
I
Elida.
love the way. Yes, I love the way she unloads. It's like
Mhm.
bit by bit, piece by piece, jab by jab, like deeper and deeper and deeper. She like stabs just a little bit more. Like, hey, just want you to know this. Oh, by the way, you got these people posing. Also, the other guy they picked a new Amerlin. Yeah, it's a Gawyn.
And she starts
Mhm.
laughing at it.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like they were smart enough to pick a country bumpkin. Like they were. It sucks because they picked one of the most talented young women, but they realize that as leaders, they can be punished, but they're not going to be killed.
Right.
But somebody claiming to be an Amerlin will be hung.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would say with the information she has, like the whole reasoning, like how she logically tries to explain why they would pick a Gawyn. And well, it's because you know how law is and what the punishments would be, and they're standing her up so they don't have to bear the brunt of the punishment, blah blah blah, because they know they're gonna, have to come back and apologize, whatever. So all that makes sense. She's making good, like she's rationalizing everything. But the trouble is, you could be a fantastic decision maker, but if the information you have is so limited, you're inevitably going to make horrible decisions
Mhm.
because your inputs suck, right?
And when your input is being manipulated by a chosen one, I mean,
Well, by everybody and by your
pretty
own
much everybody.
ignorance and
Yeah.
lack of humility and stubbornness.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point there. That's a good point. She really is like, and this is kind of just we've seen this with Elida previously. Like she's her own worst enemy again and again
yeah.
and again. Like she sets up all of the pieces that like eventually like get
even
her.
with dealing with the Black
and it's
Tower.
her arrogance.
Yeah, dealing with the Black Tower says, we're just gonna send 50 sisters, and it's like,
Right.
yeah, here there's hundreds. It's like there's not hundreds. There's been 24 people in the last 100 years that can channel. Like there's not hundreds of men that can channel. This is
Yeah,
bullcrap
exactly.
report. So,
But even if there's 5, who was talking in the last book? Was it maybe we got some intel from Loyal where they were talking about how it's odd with like some of the powerful male channelers, some of the issues the Aes Sedai have had with controlling them in the past? Were we getting that info from Loyal? Anyways, doesn't matter. But there is some history that she should have access to, knowing that there are some singular male channelers that are so powerful, it's not as simple as, send out a few reds and we'll just go round them up. So even if they have 5 semi-powerful male channelers, it's not going to be an easy day for a couple dozen of them to go in there and go round them up. And if she even concedes that there's 100 of them, you're not just going to throw 50 Aes Sedai at it and be like, piece of cake, right? Just she's not even using her own historical references to make logical conclusions here. And maybe it's part of the Reds just hating on men in general. Like they're just so full of themselves. Like there's no way a group of men can become so powerful that we would ever have to worry about it, sort of thing. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they do have a pretty good track record, I think, throughout history, right? Like that's been said numerous times. They have handled false dragons. It's what they do. And they've handled men
one at a time.
Well, one at a time, two at a time here and there. But yeah, nothing like
Yeah.
what they're
Man,
facing
two at a
now.
time.
So it just goes back to that
Sometimes even
arrogance angle.
Yeah.
I think that we've seen just with the Aes Sedai in general throughout the series, they are a little arrogant. It's not like the individuals necessarily are all personally arrogant, but the institution of the tower itself is
Yes.
what's arrogant, right?
Right.
Like it's
I
like
mean, when
it's
you've been
like
on
the,
top for so many years,
right? Yeah.
it's
Oh, I
kind
mean,
of
you could
arrogance.
probably say, and Ian might know this, like from the U.S. military, I think there's a little bit of an arrogant streak that runs because we've been number one in terms of that. For
We
a
talk
long
about
time.
the danger of that a lot.
Right. Yes. And when you get arrogant, you get complacent. And when you get complacent, you fall behind. That's the thing. And that's kind of like where the tower is at, especially since the Ajahs also have their inter-tower politics, is you're really starting to get to see in this part of the series where it's like, hey, they don't even really talk with each other all that much. So they're all in this. It's like 7 individual towers, actually, in some regards. It's really interesting.
Yeah. That's a good point. The only thing I'll say is the difference between the tower and what we're seeing with Elida and the U.S. military. That was actually a very perfect analogy. Is we recognize it, and just about every training event, every new system we learn on, work on everything, every time we practice like skill level 1 shit with our soldiers, this is part of the conversation. The moment you think that you're just automatically the top dog and you got nothing to worry about, that's when you're in trouble.
Yep.
You've got to recognize that there's other people trying to be top dog. And the only reason we're so badass is because how we train from the bottom up to like just react in unison and get rid of that cockiness that no matter what we run into, we have nothing to worry about, So it's that recognition and then continuing to train on top of that. She doesn't have that recognition that there might be a threat out there. So that I guess is the big separation.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but the moment, trust me, the moment we sit back and we're like, man, bombs are so awesome. We don't have to train. I don't need to learn my basic buddy aid. I'm going to stop doing PT. We've got missiles. Like, bro, we're Dunsky. Yeah, we can't do that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could go into a further like military analogy too, like where the different Ajahs of the tower don't really work together. And you could say like that's where a military becomes dysfunctional between like your army, your navy, your air command, stuff like that. If you're not working together, sharing intelligence, you're going to eventually start undermining each other. And actually, we've seen this in history. And one of the greatest examples of this is the Japanese Imperial Navy and Japanese Imperial Army in World War II, where they were very antagonistic towards each other. There was always a prestige thing. That
who's
going to
get the victory? Who gets the claim?
Who's going to get it? And the Navy always thought it was superior to the Japanese Imperial Army, for example. And they fought each other almost as much as they fought literally anybody else.
It's like the Marines and the Navy.
That's a good. Yep. But communication is key. I don't know if we've ever mentioned that before in Wheel of Time, but yeah.
What?
Oh yeah. No, what? No. You don't have to communicate at all.
Especially
just assume things.
If you're operating in the same like AO area of operation and you're not communicating with people that should, supposedly be on your side. I mean, at worst, you're doubling your effort. Right, as a team. Yeah, and it just goes downhill from there. But anyways, I was going to say, Alan, as we've gone all these many tangents about Elida and never really stuck to like play-by-play of the book, I realized 2 days ago that I actually need to order the next 3 books. So I'm only going off of, so I listened to these chapters a few times, but if you want us to actually follow the path of what's happening in the book, you got to tell me, because I don't know where we're at.
Okay,
you gotta tell me where we're at.
That's all right. I can send you a copy of it if you want.
Oh no, I've got them ordered. They're coming.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because I just realized I didn't have the next one until I tried to find it.
I got extra paperbacks of everything now because people keep on sending me Wheel of Time books, even though I have them all.
That's so cool.
Oh, it's my family members because like, oh, do you have? I'm like, yes, I have them all. Like, I have them all in paperback. I have them all in hardback. I have them twice in hardback now. It's like,
I feel more giveaways are coming.
yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
But
They
these
are.
ones will be
Well,
these ones will be
that
signed copies with artwork from us though.
yeah, that
Yo.
I've been kind of just giving away them to friends too. Like people like come to my house like, hey, have you read the series? Here, I have a book.
I got 30 copies of The Eye of the World. Please take
Yeah.
one.
Please take one.
Yeah.
Just take it. So yeah, also I was gonna ask about the whole entire breaking tower law about hanging men rather than bringing them back for trial. So that's something that Elida announced as well. That any man find channel and just hang them outright, not even bring them back for a proper trial. In the proper.
You know where my mind went with that? Like the relation to American politics these days. So we've discovered with the last, and this isn't recent, let's say the last 4 or 5 presidents, if you look at the amount of executive orders that they've just been, stroking the pen, trying to find ways that they can just executive order this, executive order that, like it keeps growing and it's both parties. They're like, let's see what we can, I don't want to say get around the process that it should take, but anyways, we're executive ordering left and right. But every time there's an executive order for anything marginally significant, it's never that simple because then you have to look at, all right, does this fly in the face of something that Congress actually passed? Is this now, are we, getting into what states should be handling versus federal government, So they talk about this. They're like, yes, as Emlyn's seat, she can just dictate anything. And that's true. But then there's days and days and days of being like, oh, well, that means there's a ripple effect. That means we would have to change this and we'd have to adjust that and And they could keep, the Emerald could keep executive ordering these changes to make it work. But it's never so simple to just give a big blanket executive order decree, especially something as radical as this, and then it just be kosher. You got to go change a bazillion other things to make it work. And not that it's funny. I guess I shouldn't say haha funny, but like I thought it was funny because I was like, we do that shit all the time. Any new president gets in and they're like, look at this stroke of the pen shit that I just did. And then everybody goes, we're going to court for 6 years. That's not, you can't do that.
Yeah.
There was a treaty in 1792 that you forgot about in a town that no longer exists. So now you can't do that.
Yep. So after all this, this is when we talk about Gawyn, which we've already talked about. I know Ian jumping around different spots. That's okay. We've already talked about the whole Gawyn thing and then propping up her as an Eberlin. And at the very end, she has a foretelling that the White Tower will be whole again.
Which conveniently enough was all about her making things amazing and awesome.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what she thought it was. I'm starting to question the accuracy of the foretellings.
I think her foretelling is accurate. I think she doesn't realize who the foretelling is really about.
So that's what I'm saying. Early on, when we met Elida,
Gawyn is going to make the tower whole again.
When we met Elida and Camelin, and we talked about a foretelling, I don't know if Alan tried to lead us to believe this or like my mind just went there. I'm not putting this on you, Alan, but it seemed like, okay, this is one of these powers that's absolute, right? Like it is what it is. Like men's viewings were kind of questionable, hard to interpret, but on a lot of foretelling, like now we know future, this is what's going to happen. But at this point, I guess it's, since we haven't read forward, it's possible what she thinks it means is what's going to happen. But I don't think that. So then, Chris, to your point, does that mean there's an interpretation portion that she's getting wrong? A perspective portion that she's getting wrong? You're nodding yes. Here comes the curveball. Why was Moraine and why was the former Amerlin Swan, why were they doing what they were doing? They were doing it because when they were they novices or accepted at the time? There was somebody in the tower that had a foretelling and told them about, the Dragon Reborn and this, that, and the other. And now they're going on this path, convinced it's the absolute truth. And this is what's going to happen. But if foretellings are subjective or they're influenced by perspective or interpretation, do we put everybody's foretelling in question?
I will chime in here and I will let you know that what happens in foretellings, it's kind of like men's viewing for the most part. they happen, right? Like
Right.
that's a thing. Like the dragon was reborn. We know that for a fact, right?
I feel good about that at this point.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We know that for a fact. And he is connected to the Camelin royal family. He knows them. He's met them. He fell over their wall in their garden in the first book. Like
I'm
that's
feeling
that
good about
also
these connections. Yeah.
happened and made these connections happen within book one. So that was already there. So I would say that you're on to something, Ian, with that. But we know that foretelling things that happen in foretellings, like men's visions, do happen. But I would also caveat that with there is an element of whoever has it is interpreting that as well. And
Well,
so
they have to,
what do
right?
we as individuals tend to do when we interpret things?
We're the
We
hero of
center
our own
ourselves
story.
where we center ourselves.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that you notice Elida does.
That's
She
where
had
the
a
ego
foretelling
gets in
that the
way.
Camelin royal family would be involved. Well, so what did she do? She centered herself as the Camelin, as the Aes Sedai advisor to the Queen of Camelin,
Yeah.
Queen of Andor. So
Mm.
it's like that. You're on to something. I just
Yeah.
want to confirm that for you, but
Yep.
how you're onto it is going to vary a little bit. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with it.
Sure. No,
But
that's that's definitely what I'm.
Oh no, get as deep as you want.
No,
That's what she said.
that was really sultry, Chris. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Bingo. There it is.
I
There it
missed
is.
that, but it's okay.
That's what she said.
so that's how we end this point of view before we switch on
Mhm.
to the next one. Before we go to Dumai's Wells again, because spoiler, go back to Dumai's Wells. I do want to do a quick cover review. I meant to do it in the beginning. I forgot to do it.
Oh yeah.
We've done it before. So I'll show you guys a picture of the cover, and we can talk about the cover for a bit. This is the original Dara sweet art. I know it's different countries, but this is it right here.
Ooh, who is that striking figure?
Those muscles.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
That is
When did he
Jean-Claude Van
develop so
Rand.
well?
it's
Oh my
Jean-Claude
goodness.
Van Rand.
Jean-Claude
It
Van
really
Rand.
is.
That's who it is.
That is a
Yeah.
perfect description of what I'm looking at. Holy!
Yeah.
Did you come up with that, or is that a thing?
I mean, I've been saying that for years, but I'm sure other people have said it on the internet somewhere. But I 100% believe that Daryl K. Sweet used Jean-Claude Van Damme from one of his movie covers as a model for this.
Absolutely. I could see this guy dropping down, doing the splits, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
punching somebody in the stomach and knocking him
Yeah.
out. Like
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
definitely
What is
Jean-Claude
that
Van Damme.
replaced from the first book?
Shadow Logoth.
Shadow
Logoth.
Yeah, see, is that where he's at?
It gives me those vibes.
It does give me that vibe.
Yeah, I don't know.
yes.
But
Hmm.
look at the different spires. There's towers in the background. Is it?
Yeah.
Are we going to Malkir or
Ooh.
what is
Well,
it?
I like the speculation.
Land's
they're doing
place?
here.
Lands,
that-
yeah.
Is Land's place
Ooh.
Malkir? Is that his kingdom?
Yeah, Malkir is his kingdom.
But wasn't
only-
it like torn down and broken up and all sorts of stuff?
I only
they
got
went
that
past
because
it
of that
before.
one spire you see.
Yeah,
I know
but
they're
that's
supposed
in
to-
the Blight, right? Like y'all technically already been
yeah.
in Malkir
Yeah,
in
that's
book
what
one,
I'm
at the end of
saying.
book one, right? And it's covered
Yeah.
in the Blight. So
Wait, so we can't go back? We
Not
can't-
Yeah,
saying
but it's
can,
not
really.
that big. There's only one spire.
That's true.
It's seven,
I'm
seven
started- I'm
towers.
started out there.
Seven
I'm
towers.
just- yeah, seven
Well,
towers. right.
there's not 7 towers anymore, is there?
I don't know.
No. I just
Yeah.
want land.
So that's
Land deserves a kingdom at this point. That's what I'm saying. I don't care if he has to get a new one or take back his old one. Give that man a kingdom.
it's a new
Land's
inn.
place.
I love it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
I like
thank
that.
you, Zul. There are 7 broken towers in.
Yeah, those towers look kind of
Yeah,
broken.
but those two look broken, but I thought they were like crumbled down and like, nothing of what they used to be. That's maybe I remember it wrong.
Well, then also
Yeah.
remember Alan mentioned the artwork and stuff doesn't always directly reflect actual shit happening in the books. Sometimes they were winging it.
Mhm. Yeah,
So-
Yeah,
I would say that
especially
it's
Dare
more
Sweet covers.
thematic. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
a thematic representation of what's
Yeah,
going on.
especially like Daryl Sweet covers. Like, there's actually another person in the Eye of the World cover because originally, I guess there was supposed to be another person in the party that was leaving with them, and Robert Jordan wrote him out. But the cover was already done, and they kept
just
the
left
cover art, and there's just a random person there that is not
Rando.
Well, there's also Nicolas Cage in there too, so it's
Yeah,
not accurate to start with.
Yeah, exactly.
Jean-Claude Van Rand. That is. There's nothing else to say about that cover. I should have stopped.
I know
after
that's
they said that.
exactly what it is. It is Jean-Claude Van Rand.
Nailed it.
And it cut off. The picture did, but he does have some well-turned calves too.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Some
I'm certain of that.
So let's switch to Savannah.
Savannah Jacuzzi in the back row of the movies.
Yeah. We're back at Dumai's Wells. Savannah's up, I guess I picture her up like on a hill because there's not really cliffs there. She's like on a hill overlooking with the wise ones.
So she's got high ground.
She has the high ground.
She has the high ground.
Let's see how this works out.
But not the moral high ground. Let's just clarify that.
Definitely not. Yeah.
It's only the physical high ground.
And she gets a report saying that one of the scouts that came up escaped. They tried to kill all Gawyn scouts, and that's the person that came running in. That was mangled. That died in the very beginning of Dumai's Wells to Gawyn.
Yeah.
Yep. And she orders them to send every spear down at the Aes Sedai. And the wise ones kind of take it back. They're like, should we keep some retainers? And like he's like, no,
some reserves.
No,
it wasn't even wise. It was like everybody. Her chief clansmen, like the wise ones, like they were all like, that doesn't sound like the right thing to do. And she's never been in battle, and she's not a wise one. Like she just has power because she's got something between her legs that men just.
Yeah. Another example of someone being way too cocky.
Yeah,
and way too.
So this is really all I have to say about this section, and it goes into that. I hope this is kind of like a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to Elida. Because we get a little bit inside of her head. We know what happens at the end of this battle. We get to see from her perspective how it unfolds. She's faking it. She lacks information. She's pretending. She's trying to manipulate. She's trying to emulate what other people in power, what clan chiefs really have done to try to get people to follow her. But it's all fake.
Right.
And she's somehow able to convince all of these people, but it's just not real. It's fake, and it's about to implode.
Yeah, so it's like a difference, like when you're like so skilled at something and you're such an expert and you just obey orders or you do something rash, but you're so good at it that you have the confidence. But it's another thing when you're not at all and you're just winging it and you're just throwing stuff to the wind. I just think the book I'm reading right now it deals with I'm reading a Star Wars book. I'm reading the Thrawn Ascendancy. So Thrawn, yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, but you have Thrawn very early in his career and how like cool and collected and just would go against orders and be like, yeah, this is how we're going to do things, and it worked because he had experience and he knew what he was doing. Versus someone like this, in Wicked Smart,
he's also a genius.
Yeah, it's someone like this who is just power tripping and has control of this giant army, and it's like, we're gonna do it my way because I'm in charge.
Can we get controversial and say that Thrawn in Star Wars is Khan in Star Trek? Like, are we willing to make these comparisons? I mean, it's not really. I don't think it should be controversial. The physical abilities, the comparisons there, the mental acuity, just the genius of them. They might land a little more on the evil side or at least we're rooting against them at times. But if you were in their camp and they were your leader, would you not be proud to follow them? Like, whoa, badass evil dudes. Anyways, Thrawn, Khan, and they sound similar. Is that an accident? I don't know.
Well, we'd have to ask Timothy Zahn to know.
Yeah,
we'd have to know. Yeah. I think
So-
Khan came first. But
Well,
that's-
Well, he
I
definitely
would
did.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely came first.
Ron first appeared in like 91, 90 or
Okay.
91, aired to Empire. Or
Yeah,
something
and
like
Khan
that.
was
So,
yeah.
is
Khan
a
was in
number of
them-
years.
Them
preceding
Shatner
that.
days, the early
Yeah.
Shatner days.
Mhm.
Anyway, not to derail
So-
the Star Wars, but there's something there though, like because Sivana, like she grabbed some power way back, at the end of book 4. And I feel like she had just a little bit of manipulating know-how, and she used it to her
Yeah.
advantage. And she's now like,
And it worked.
spiraled that into like way more.
It worked
know,
too well.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Her
And it's
manipulation
like,
worked too good.
she's failed. She's this is where you're starting to see her be like the victim of her success, I would say, where
Bingo.
she's risen to the level of what I would call her incompetence. And you start to see it in the way she thinks about people and the way she does things.
Wait, are we talking about Elida again?
No, we're talking about Sivana. This also applies to Elida.
Interesting.
We're talking about Sivana.
Yeah.
So just the way it's reflected, I think, in the way she's talking about everyone fleeing specifically.
Yeah, and
Wells.
And such an absolute and willing just to break all protocol and culture and
Yes.
like, I mean, even with the wise ones said,
I mean, but that
otherwise
wasn't
we'll
really
show
her
up.
fault. That's all Rand's fault. She's just helping to fulfill the prophecy.
Is it? She started
Yeah,
doing it before
no.
Rand even showed up. Really,
She's trying to force wise ones to fight
but
other
I'm
wise
saying,
ones,
like-
which is unheard of in IO culture.
We're gonna disagree to
Aiel's
disagree on
splitting
that
from
one.
Aiel's splitting from Aiel, and the Karakar's here, and we need to save him no matter what.
That's true.
It's not her fault. It's Rand's fault. Like,
Actually, that
just
is a
doing
good
it-
point. She's seizing on an opportunity
I like
because
it,
being that there is a Karakan and like he's going to break them,
correct.
she's just trying to run a different way in how that new life, new everything, new
And
culture, new system
She's
is going to be.
justified in trying to save the Karakan, and you have other wise ones directly against that. Like, it's like go at it no matter what.
It does
I
kind
like
of make
the
me sick
style.
that it kind of makes me sick. Go ahead, Vance.
Oh, I was just gonna say she did try to back a fake Karakarn
She did.
originally.
There was a couple swings and misses
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So
That
I
wasn't her
mean,
fault. She's a woman. He's a man. He was in charge of things. That was her husband. Like, she had to go with the flow.
that was her husband's brother.
Right.
let's
That was the second
clarify
manipulation.
on that.
She
Yeah.
waited for the first
She
one to
married
die, and
Kulin
then she
too.
winked at the other one and was like, "Yeah, I guess."
Did
I'm
she
in
marry
good there."
Kulin?
Yes, she did. That's what it
Did
implied.
she officially marry him?
That's what it
It's been a
implied.
while. Since I read that
She
book.
winked at him.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I thought it
implied
was
that she
done.
married him too.
I thought
Yeah.
it was a wink situation.
She married him too. That's why she became
Oh,
in
look at
charge.
that. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah,
Here I am getting schooled on something now.
Hey, so, I could be wrong.
Now
but-
that happens daily.
and now she wants to marry the Karakan. Like, she's
Yeah.
it's all for him.
It's
been
all
that
for the
way whole
Karakarn.
time.
Is it really all for the Karakarn, or is it really all for?
No,
Savannah?
I like her. Like, her ambition. It's like,
using the influence of the Karakan to make her greater. It
Well,
has
in the-
nothing to do with
Oh,
any
yeah.
greater good. It all comes back to her.
That's a
I've been doing
great-
this since I could remember. Like, that, literally, those are things that she could.
Yeah.
Since she realized she had weapons that no man could fight against, she's been doing this.
I do like what you said there, Chris. Her ambition, like, and that is one of the fun things about Savannah as a character. I think is just watching her ambitions, like,
Correct.
continually grow. Like they
She's like a
start
pet.
off like, they start off like relatively reasonable, and then it's just like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
the trouble. Like with the people that you'd want to see in leadership, the humble and kind and generous. Like
They
when
don't
they
have
get
that ambition.
they don't have that ambition, and then you find somebody that you absolutely don't want there, and they're loaded with ambition. And gosh, I won't get into comparisons
smart
about our
ones won't
political
go for
system, but my goodness, that's a struggle in humanity. Like we all struggle with that. That's how many benevolent dictators do you have in charge of you? I've got dictators, but ain't one of them benevolent.
Yeah, it's pretty
They give-
rare in
they-
history.
No, yeah. They give you crumbs when they think it'll benefit them, and it's just enough to appease you, but No.
Right. Yeah. So as the fighting goes on, it's going really well. The spears are advancing really well towards the wagons. Everything's going great. And then she sees something out of the corner of her eye, like a little splash of light.
Skadoosh.
And skadoosh.
What's that little
And
splooshy sploosh?
it's just like, it must have saw something. And she looks there, it's gone. Then she's another one. By the time she looks there, it's gone. And the next thing she knows, everyone
Knocked
runs
off
into
her
a
own
wall of
feet.
air, and she gets pissed at this point. She's like, I told you to block the Aes Sedai. They're like, this isn't women that are doing this.
It wasn't even it was like complete total panic.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It
Ooh,
went back to
like,
like she looked like the wise ones, like ghost white face, like this is not good. This is not women. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Gotta go.
and like the
Gotta
first
go.
thought is like, is Rand this powerful? Like, did Rand break free? He's
she
this
got
powerful?
excited, even moist. Like she
Yeah.
was just like, oh my god, like really? Like
Is this-
I just can't even imagine.
Oh, he will be mine.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Oh yes,
That was her thought.
Oh, yes.
Insane, absolutely insane. But
Hey.
you know, you have to give it to her for her tenacity.
I've got to go back a little bit, if not for Chris's sake, then for my own. We did jump over the, all right, we're about to go to battle. We're going to win this. And for the most part, it was going really well. But we see where the wolves come plowing through and ripping out
Oh,
throats right
yeah.
next to her. And she's
She's like,
Aes Sedai can do that?
call wolves? Like, yes, that was
Yeah.
hilarious.
That's crazy that Aes Sedai can call wolves. All of my people are getting their throats eaten out. That's crazy.
we need to learn how to do that one.
Yeah. She pulls out a notepad and goes, all right, I also
Notes
need
to
to
self,
woo
wolves.
an Aes Sedai for that wolf shit.
Note to self. Learn
Look,
to control wolves.
she's like covered in post-its by the end of this battle,
Yeah.
like as reminders. Like step 7, wolves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the Ashman kill moment comes, and everyone starts to run because there's bodies everywhere, and everyone's dying. They're all retreating at this point. She
Heads are
pulls a
being
spear and
exploded.
she starts trying to actually starts
She's
slicing through
beating the
people.
crap out of people. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get
She
back to work.
literally speared somebody. She's killed people.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
killing her own
Forced them back to
people.
fight.
Like, get back.
She
to the
said
fight.
she ignored she ignored the fact that the spear came back bloodier than what it was when she sent it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't care. Her goal is in front of her, and I mean that is the IOA, is it not? Now she should never have picked up a spear because she's not, a spear maiden, and she's not a
She's
warrior.
not a
but-
nobody. She's not officially anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
She's an imposter. That's what I keep going back to.
Yeah.
You know what's really twisted? And you live long enough. I'm sure there's crazy guys like this too, but since I grew up a guy, my perspective is you live long enough, you'll run into this crazy type of girl also. And Alan and I, when I finish this, we'll probably be thinking about the same girl. But anyways, go back to Rand, and Rand turns to Taim and is like, this woman showed up thinking she could take me, da-da-da. Let's teach her a lesson. And then Ashaman kill. They fuck shit up. Now we're looking at her perspective. She's like, what's that down there? Oh, shit's getting fucked up. She's sitting there stabbing her own people to try and stay in the fight. Everything's falling apart. And do you think she's going, oh no, Rand taught me a lesson? No, she's going, oh my God. Oh my God, I really like him. I would so boot him. Oh my God. He just destroyed everyone. Fucking everything I try to do, and I need to get in his pants.
Yes, that she's like, I will have him now, especially now. I'll have him. Like, if you didn't want him before, I definitely want him now.
I think so. Rand has no way of knowing this, but her reaction is probably the opposite of what the message he was trying to deliver to her. He was like, look, crazy women, we got power, we got all these people, we gonna fuck you up, run away. And instead of run away, she's like, he crazy? He this crazy? He killed like that? I
like
want
that
this. And they always have the really big eyes, like, oh yeah.
Yep. And eventually she realizes that she can't stay, otherwise she's gonna die too. So she turns and runs. And that's how we end her point of view.
I
It's
picture her
run away,
skipping
run
off,
away,
like
run away,
already with
run
the next
away.
plan.
Run
She's also
here's the
confident in
bigger
her
question,
manipulative
though.
powers.
A couple of the wise men were like, we're not something stone dogs. and they pretty much they ran like cowards, so they now have.
We're not going to say to fight a losing fight. They're not stone dogs.
Stone dogs are like honey badgers. Still, yeah. Oh yeah, they all got the toe.
But now they got major toe, so it's like, will they come inside with Rand and be Guy Shine, or will they, will we see this army again in this, in this book or at all?
In this situation, what had happened is she's looking down and sees this wall go up, and all the wise ones get really big eyed, and she goes, "What's down there?" And all the wise ones goes, "It's the monsters." Like, what, the rabbit? It's like, no, it is the rabbit.
It is the rabbit. Behind the rabbit? Yeah.
No, it is the rabbit. And then head start falling off, and it's just bad.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that, but I'm a little curious. Obviously the ones that were caught in battle that had to surrender or were, captured, they would become Guy Shine. Mm-hmm. But what's happening to these ones that run away?
Honor. Yeah.
Do they go back and regroup? Are they going to continue on this thought process of, hey, the world's been rewritten now with the Karakan, so things are different, so we don't have to do the Guy Shine shit. We could just retreat, regroup, and do something else?
Oh, so I don't understand Giotto. Well, they may not feel like that. I get it though. They may not feel like they have toe because
I understand toe.
Look at this. It depends on if they determine they have toe or not.
Look, I can wiggle my pinky toe.
Honorable, then they should say that they have big toe, not just little toe. Big toe.
Big toe. Little toe.
Welcome to the Will Reads Wiki Feet.
Oh yeah, if we get money for my toe shot.
I will not say names, but there was a situation where a friend of mine sent a picture and was like, "Hey," was like, "Hey," did y'all hear that in the background?
We heard it.
Yep. It was like, "Hey, how much do you think it would cost to send a picture of a big toe?" I was like, "Wait, what?" All the questions. What do you mean?
Wait, that's how the message starts. That's it.
That's how the message starts. It's like, yeah, somebody
they called, asked, then hung up. Okay, thanks, bye.
Yeah.
Like you're asked the other day.
For a picture of a big toe?
I'm in the middle of work, like in between meetings. Ian calls me and goes, "Hey man," I was like, "Hey, what's up?" He's like, "What was the joke? I can't even remember. About a gummy bear or something like that."
Hey, did you hear about the gummy bear that was missing a leg? And I was like, "What? No, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, he lost it in nom 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 nom." And then I just hung up.
That's kind of messed up. But
I thought I got disconnected or something like that. I was like, "No, that's all I had to say. Bye."
That was the question of the day. How much do I charge for a picture of a big toe?
How much?
Or would you send a picture of a big toe?
Yeah.
Tell you what, if any of y'all are willing to pay me for feet pictures, just hit me in my DMs.
Oh yeah, please.
I will send you every angle.
Big toes.
I'll put my feet next to a bowl of ice cream, like in the Christmas tree, like whatever. You tell me where you want my feet. Yeah. For money, man. I'm not. I mean, I'm physically attached to them, but
they're tatted too, so you get the nice little.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You could get a picture of a foot and a cock all at once, and it won't even be pornographic. It's just
cock on a foot.
There's a cock on my foot. All right,
and now we switch back to new patron tier.
Yeah, so Vance is sitting there going, "I shouldn't have come on tonight.
I'm having a good time. I'm having a good time.
All these decisions of my life."
All right, look, the best part about coming on this particular podcast is getting to listen to y'all. That's my favorite part.
The ridiculous tangents.
Yeah,
we only do it occasionally.
I may not have anything to add to all the ridiculous tangents, but I do enjoy them.
Oh, it's all good.
They're fun.
It's all good. All right, where are we at, Alan?
We're switching back to the White Tower to Alviarin, who the keeper, who's now meeting with Masana.
Masana.
Yeah.
Masana.
The Forsaken has returned.
Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
always
she's
interesting when they pop up because it's
It
like
is.
we know all and you know none, and you poor children, you think you're controlling things and running the show when we're really manipulating the heck out of all of you, and we're planting these seeds and it's like
So did you see
Go
the
away.
keeper being Black Ajah? Did you see that coming? And the fact that she's actually plotting to kill Elida? Like she actually has that thought too. Like
well,
maybe
we knew
she-
that already, didn't we?
All
I
right.
don't think
Is
we
it
knew
bad
that she was
though?
Black Ajah.
Is
Well,
it
for
bad
some
though
odd
that
reason
we're
I did.
cheering for her to kill Elida?
That's the worst question. We are all dark friends because I'm like, yeah, Elida can go.
At this point, the actual White Tower portion of the Aes Sedai, if they implode on themselves,
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting rid of. Like I drew the line when they were getting rid of the Warder's Yard there, the practice grounds, and also kind of the collusion with let's just off Gawyn and all the younglings. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Hold on, I'm gonna go back real quick because I'm looking at the chat. I realize that retreating is not against Giotto, but not listening to direct command should be against Giotto.
Yeah.
That is where I have issue. They're cheating at the call of your command. Now that's honorable because there was recognition that you were definitely not in a position to do anything. But when you're running without being told and you're told to go back, now that's AWOL. Kind of.
Well, it's called in this
it was-
instance, I would call it a rout, which is they're so soundly defeated that everyone's command structure is broken and they're just going to get away.
Save
That's it.
yourselves.
Yep, save yourself at that point.
Yeah.
So
But command gave you order to go back. So do you still?
there is no command at that point, man.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
none.
It's kind of chaos. Everything's broken apart.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you're so soundly defeated. There is no command structure.
I guess when
And,
heads
I
start
mean,
popping,
even, like,
It's a
really,
Saving
when you
Private
think
Ryan
about it.
scene where like Tom Hanks runs
Yeah.
up. He's like, "Who's in charge here? You're in charge, sir." What? You're in charge, sir.
But
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
the Aiel also like their command structures are inherently different from like what we would consider like what you see in like Tyr or Kyrian, right?
Mhm.
They have far more of that tribal shield
Mhm.
shield base, shield and spear based structure where they have like a shield wall. They push forward with it, but even then, it's based off like Zulu shield wall.
Yes.
Instead of a European style shield wall. So it's a bit different. And I imagine that just with how many people were getting completely obliterated. I mean, if my shield wall is not holding and I'm far enough away back to get away, and I see there's nothing that can be done to keep that shield wall in place,
Yeah.
I'm out of there.
Yeah. Once
I'm
it
out.
folded, the
Yeah.
attack is over. There's nothing left in the attack.
Right. Yeah.
But-
You can't regroup. You can't do anything. Like there's
Right.
just
The
too many
minute
big
nature
holes.
started hitting me, the minute lightning and fireballs
Mm-hmm.
came, I'd have been out of there. So
And remember the front row that started running away? They saw the meat grinder head explosions.
Mhm.
Right.
true.
So they were going to run away no matter what anybody said at that point.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't know that you stand there and go, I'm next.
Mhm.
Ha
Nah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
back
you
to
look at, like,
Alviarin.
well, just real fast to go back to another historical analogy. So, like in World War I, which was horrible in a lot of
Mhm.
things, very similar type situation, like where they would order charges, and as soon as you would climb over the trenches onto the no man's land, machine guns would just open fire and start mowing down lines. And literally, they had to institute what's called Roman law, where the commanders were given guns to shoot any people that try to come back into the trenches to force
Yeah.
the soldiers up to charge. And if you go back, you're dead too. So
Yeah.
there's like, and that's the kind of mentality that Savannah was implementing
Yeah.
here. Is,
Right.
um,
She was the only
Yeah.
one implementing it.
yeah,
In her
but-
own little
Right.
misguided fantasy in her head.
right.
Oh, he will be mine.
Oh, yes, he will. So back to the White Tower. Masana just wants to know about the fertility, about everything.
So how does she already know what's going on? Who do we think she is? Go ahead, tell us, man. Who do you think she is?
She or he?
Masana?
Masana.
Samurai.
I mean, we know Masana is hanging out in the tower.
She's one of the Forsaken.
Right, but this didn't she give like a list of people she's not at the end of this? So weren't we able to process of elimination it? Like, cause she talks shit about the other Forsaken, or am I misremembering?
She's one of the 13. Like, she's not
Right.
one of the ones. Like,
She is one of the 13. I'm saying, who is she in the white tower?
Oh, who is she impersonating?
Who's she? Well, maybe not impersonating, but who is that impersonation? If you just
guess,
plant yourself somewhere.
Who's
Vance, who do you think she is?
What's her role?
Yeah, what's her role? Who is she?
I'm not gonna answer that. You can read and find out.
Raphael.
Her role is to
How
be
does she know
planted in the White
everything?
Tower and control events from within there.
She's the cook.
But
How does she know everything that's already going on before her little minion there comes out and lets her know? How does she know all these things? Maybe she can control bugs or something. Maybe they're telling her what's going on.
She's got good listen weaves.
getting into weird theories about how she gets info here.
Why not? I
like
mean,
it.
Or she, you could tell me who she is, and we can figure this out.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm sorry.
No.
And it's totally not because I don't remember who she is. That's not it at all. As he says as he Googles frantically over here to try to remember.
So gets a report. She also Alviarin asks about how dangerous the Black Tower actually is, and Masana's just kind of annoyed by that line of questioning. Doesn't even answer.
I like her braveness to question. Not like she's questioning not just the Amerlin, but now she's questioning a chosen one. Like, her mind is spinning, and she's definitely trying to like position herself to where she has a higher level of importance. And I want to know how much more her we're gonna get and how important she's gonna become.
The keeper?
Yeah.
I mean, she's in a position to be important.
She is. I want to know how important and to whom.
Well,
like, do we have new chosen pop up? Does old chosen go away?
She was featured in one point of view, and then she has her own point of view.
Yeah.
So I think it's a pretty safe assumption that she's going to be here for a hot minute.
I think she might become a new chosen.
And I'm already cheering for her to take out Elida.
There you go. Ali from the Wheel Takes figured out who it was almost immediately. So, guys, get on your game. Get your game better.
Samarag.
Masada is already a Forsaken. She's not going to be another Forsaken.
Yeah. She is.
She's not going to pretend to be another Forsaken.
Who is she? Like, is she?
Masana's the name of a Forsaken.
Yes.
Oh man, we're reached this level now.
So I'm not smart. If y'all ever thought that, I apologize. Alan was supposed to tell you.
Yeah.
Chat. I don't.
Yeah. No, it's okay.
Now I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I'm saying, like, is she a serving girl? Is she the woman that trains all the people? Like, is she? Who is she?
Now, maybe Masana is Rand. Thank you for recognizing how my brain was not working and helping to continue to make that funny. Thank you.
Yeah. So after all this, Alvaranen decides not to send any Black Sisters to the Black Tower, and before they leave, Masana says, "Let me teach you this trick. Check this out."
Look at that.
It's
gateway.
It's called a gateway.
But by the way, you can only use it when I authorize it, and if you teach anybody, I will just make you not exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will extinguish you.
So messed up.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yeah.
And that's how we end this point of view. Before we switch to one of my favorite point of views from this chapter, Paige and Niall.
This point of view hurt my feelings.
Did it? It does. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to lie to you.
Like, I hate White Cloaks, but Paige and
He
Niall,
grew on me.
Yeah.
If you had to find one to like, I mean, it's between him or Galad.
Yep.
And
Galad doesn't count. Galad's only a White Cloak out of necessity.
I feel like he's gonna count though. I'm gonna just leave it at
I
that.
mean, he is not only a white cloak out of necessity.
Right.
He's a white cloak because he
It's who he
believes in
Right.
what the white cloaks put down on paper, not what they do, what they have on paper.
I guarantee you, by the end of this book, he's not going to be a white cloak anymore.
Okay. Gotcha.
And on that note, Ian just flat out walks away. I must be completely wrong. That's okay. Okay. I feel like the minute he finds out stepmom is still alive and she's been held, because we know this is going to happen at this point.
Yeah,
he's going to flip the script.
Yeah. So it starts with Niall and Morgase. They're playing stones, and Morgase wins because at this point she's winning sometimes. Because she figures that she doesn't need to lose all the time, and it's actually better if she wins sometimes.
Well, now it's like, it was pretty smart of her to think that I didn't already know that she was losing to me on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad she figured out that I need her to actually play me because I'm bored.
Yeah.
I have too many other, all the important things I have going on with, the multiple wars around me and, having to hunt down the Tarvalin witches on top of the witches in Salidar, which I don't think he knows the name Salidar, but on top of this new dragon, I have all the time in the world to play stones with this woman. But anyway.
Yeah. He's also trying to figure out a way that if he puts Morgase on the throne, what keeps her from keeping her oath. And that's one of the big things he's trying to. I think he's really trying to build up a real friendship with Morgase. I mean, that's part of his taking time with her. It's not just to play stones when all the stuff's going around and neglect his duties. I think there's a calculated.
Yeah, that and the fact that he's waiting on a secret, little letter to come his way at some point to give him the edge.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, Morgase asks, if she can see Galad, and Niall says no.
He's too important out where he is. He's too good at what he does.
Strains on his oaths, and he's a very good officer. We need Galad where he is. Yeah. But yeah, and he actually admits that he admires Morgase, but admits also regrets that she's been tainted by Tarvalin. That she's regrets the fact that she is who she is.
Them Tarvalon witches.
Oh, she went and trained under the witches.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, as I'm going through this the first time, I'm gaining even more of appreciation for Morgase. We talked about her before. Mm-hmm. She's no dummy. I think she's doing the best she can in the situation she's in, right? Mm-hmm. And she's earning some confidence here with who we thought before the end of this chapter is the cock of the walk. We praised this guy as just being a masterful mind in previous books and everything. Or might have been earlier in this book. But knowing what I know now of how this chapter ends, as we're going through it again, I just feel so sad of what seems like such wasted, masterful effort by Morgase. Mm-hmm. We're getting all this progress. And it might be minute, but against the White Cloaks and against Pedro Niall, her progress is significant, and it's all about to be for nothing.
Yep. And
she's not gaining favor with anybody else.
Right.
It's only been with him.
Yeah.
So, wah, wah, wah.
And then enters Abdel Umerna. So, which really interesting. Love this aspect of it. So, quick spoilers. If you guys have not read this awesome book, The Origins of the Wheel of Time, there's a glossary section in there that kind of goes through where Robert Jordan created all these names, and I love his entry. Umerna's. Because Abdul is Arabic for servant, and Umerna is derived from Amerta, which is the mafia code for silence. Since he was the spy master, that's kind of where Robert Jordan.
The silent servant or servant in silence.
Basically, the assassin, it was mafia code for someone that does.
Oh, gotcha.
That works in secret.
Oh, Huh. Well,
Ooh.
Pretty cool.
yeah.
So anyway, and he definitely does work in secret in some kind of way. So he comes in with news about terror
He
bombs.
works in a lot of secrets. They're just not all right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying
Yeah.
he walks in. He's got a big secret in his hands. He's trembling, and he's
Yep.
like, "We've got word. I need to speak to you alone." And it's like, "All right, Morgase, get stepping." And she's like,
We'll do dinner later.
"Yeah, we'll do dinner."
Yeah, and he
I'll
goes
let you
behind. He's standing behind Niall as he hands him this as he's reading through, like over his shoulder, and and Niall doesn't even, or I guess, realizes as the knife slides in through his ribs.
Well, I mean, there's conversation first, so we got to be
Yeah,
real.
of course,
So
okay.
it's like,
Yeah,
this is happening and that is happening. You got to watch out for the witches, and the witches here and the witches
Sure,
there.
yeah,
and
yeah.
So he's doing his job as a white cloak, and he's being ignored. If you're doing your job and being completely ignored, and you think you're not only that, but you're a zealot, like you're one of the highest stations, and your job is to root out evil, and then you think the person in charge of you is not doing the most he could do, and then he's almost
holding back.
Yeah, he's protecting.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? Like, you got to make a decision, and most zealots are gonna make the quickest, hardest decision, and that's gonna be, all right, we need to replace this man, and I'm the best one to make sure this happens.
Yeah. This would be like if Messina continues around with his crazy dragon prophet quest and goes so off on a tangent that finally he runs into Rand again and is like, "Oh, Rand, you're not dragon enough," and then tries.
Oh
to
no,
kill Rand.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah,
Like the book is written that way.
I
It is
suspected
gonna
that early
happen.
on. Messina's gonna get so wild in his dragon
Zealousy,
quest
yeah.
that when he meets Rand, he's like, "No, you ain't it." Because they've got this idea of what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
And Rand's
So
not
I
gonna-
just picture this scene as Myrna standing behind Pedro Niall, and he's reading through all this and giving the report, and then he whispers in Pedro Niall's ear, "Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition."
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the drop of humor. I will say stuff like this in movies and in books is always very uncomfortable to me. I've never been stabbed, really, only kind of stabbed. But
You've only been kind of stabbed.
Right. Well, I was about to say never, but technically I have been, but that doesn't count for the purpose of the story.
His
again,
late night. She
Again,
didn't have
we
a
grew
good
up in
time.
Newport News, right? I'm oddly comfortable with a lot of forms of killing, depending on the reason and justification. We don't need to go down that tangent. I know maybe that makes me a horrible person. I am horribly uncomfortable with stabbing, and I'm not talking about with a sword. That's almost bearable, but the up close and personal dagger type stabbing,
You have to want to do it.
it's the sound, it's the feel that like I inevitably also feel just reading about it or seeing it on the big screen or something. It's just
The Lannister
something-
sends the regards.
it's something I
Not
could
up
never
and down.
do, and it's probably the one way I would never want to go down. Like, I could think of a million deaths I'd want to have, but getting stabbed up close and personal, the worst. Yeah, it freaks me out. Yeah, it might have been because, like, in one of my experimenting days when I got paranoid off of something, one of my friends decided to chase me around the house with a fake knife. But of course, I thought it was a real knife.
I
thought
remember
was gonna
that.
Die. I thought I was gonna die. To be fair,
It was
Alan
not me.
wasn't the one-
It was not
Alan
me.
wasn't chasing me. Alan was just in the corner laughing, which he probably would have been doing anyways.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was gonna get stabbed by a clown,
He was screaming like a girl running around the
screaming bloody murder. Yeah. The only way they got me to calm down was to get me to stare into a mirror, which freaked me out more. That was terrifying. I froze because I didn't want to see me looking at me because I thought I might do something to myself. So I just, anyways, that's how we saw
That's
that.
fantastic.
But stabbing, this moment was uncomfortable for me, and these type of up close and personal stabbings, I don't deal with that well.
It completely caught me off guard, which I mean, clearly caught the captain off guard too. I did not expect this dude to have the balls to go through with it. And I didn't feel like he had the reason to go through with it. I mean,
wasn't he a little teary-eyed as he did it? Like he hated that it's like I have to do it, but I hate that I have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, he was a man who gave him purpose.
Yeah.
And he had to have known that he was messing with him a little bit, but still, he gave him position, he gave him purpose, he gave him a network. He helped him fulfill his life ambition, but the captain didn't realize exactly how far that ambition went.
Yeah.
And that was his mistake. He didn't realize that he had a true zealot with him. He thought he had a guy that wanted position and power and that he could manipulate and he would be okay with it.
Yeah.
So he learned a hard lesson at the last moment.
Yeah.
A knife hard lesson.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then the people around him to then have the doors burst through by his second in command.
Even Valdo.
Yeah. And then he just like kills
Traitor.
our spy master right away. Like I knew as soon as that happened, I was like, oh yeah, this is a cover up. Like this is fishy. Right off the bat, I'm like, now a true white cloak would not have to do that to somebody like this. He could have just held him up at sword's end and said, all right, you'll pay for this.
Right, we're gonna have a trial.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out why you did it. All the things.
Who else are you working with? Like, let's get
exactly.
No witnesses.
When you kill him that quick, cover up. Yeah.
And walks our spy master like, hey, it must make you Lord Captain Commander now, huh? Don't you feel special? And then when I listened to that, I was like, oh, here we go. He had something to do with it.
Aswana comes in the what is it, the High Inquisitor?
Yeah.
Immediately starts.
I hate that from the beginning. I disliked that guy. I knew he was going to be problems. I knew he was going to do something shady. I kind of thought he would be the one to end the Lord Captain Commander's life. I thought it was going to be another Inquisitor that would do the stabby.
Yeah.
Or not even that. I don't think he'd be brave enough to stabby. I kind of thought it'd be poison or something in a cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And their back and forth is a little bit shady as well. I mean, where it's like, well, I can tell him what I saw. You can say this, I know you're trying to angle to be Lord Captain Commander, so let's try to figure this out. I mean, it's all slimy. Everything's kind of
let's work it out right here, right now. And if we come out with the same
dead
story,
body,
we're all good.
Over
if we
two
go out
dead
with two
bodies.
different stories, someone's gonna win, someone's gonna die, probably.
And don't forget, like the last benevolent moment of the great Captain Commander, as he was trying to grasp the piece of paper to make sure that somebody would be able to see the important note that was just handed to him. I so want to know what was on that note. Like there's something super important that was going to change the course of his entire plan, make him drop Morgase like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And we don't know.
I guess hopefully we get to read and find out. Maybe it's not
in 3 books.
Yeah, right.
Yes, Morgase did win the Stones game. But I don't think she's won that game or that battle. I don't think she's won this war.
I don't think that was the last battle.
Yes.
Not yet.
Right.
Yeah. It's in this moment with all the chaos, Morgase should have tried to escape.
Yeah. I don't think she'll have the opportunity. I think these people moving in are going to move in on her quickly to try and prove an example.
So do you think Morgase is in trouble now?
So, all right. As much as we've had disdain and dislike for the White Cloaks, when we had that Patron Niall chapter before, and then as we've experienced them now, I haven't warmed up to the White Cloaks. I warmed up to Patron Niall. And because of the position he was in, I had hope that maybe there would be further strategic alliances where maybe they could come into the fold, or at least some of them, kind of like how the Aiel did. We got some of them that would follow their leader, and then some would break away. You'd have to fight them later, maybe. But now with this new leadership taking over and kind of their viewpoints on things, I think the White Cloaks are more an enemy of Rand, and I say the White Tower, but even like the Egwene portion of the Aes Sedai and everything, like
all them witches.
Right. It's I don't see the bridge. I don't see hope for any sort of, like, they're just an enemy now. You know, unless maybe there's some hope with Galad, and maybe he rises up enough and gets enough followers that, you know, he has a breakaway of some White Cloaks that are able to join. But I don't know. Losing Pedro Niall, that's rough.
Yeah. Yep. And we end this point of view with Valda asking Balward to convene the Council of Anointed. And then he thinks about getting rid of him as soon as possible because he's pointless and doesn't need him around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, that's what Elida did. That's the other thing. Hold on. That's the other thing we found out. Let's go all the way back to Elida.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't there some comments about how she's had people offed? Am I making that up?
Alviarin has, I think.
I thought Elida did.
Now, there's a comment Alviarin has had people offed, but I don't know.
Okay,
if
maybe
Elida
that's what
has.
I'm mixing up, because then I
Yeah.
started to have questions about, like, you know, is she definitely Black Ajah? Or anyways,
Yeah.
okay. We maybe need to go back and review that. I thought there were talks about how Elida had people offed as well.
I mean, she
But
did
it
have
would
the
make-
whole
it would
moment
make-
where.
It'd make more sense if it was her number 2, who we know is Black Ajah.
Yeah. I mean, she had the whole moment where I am the Amaryllis seat. You know, I have full control. Like I am the
Respect my
state.
authority.
Was it Louis the 14th? I am the state.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we switch to the last point of view, which is Gawyn. Good old Gawyn.
Gawyn.
He's watching the end of Dumai's Wells. You know, he started with originally over 500 soldiers. He has about 200 left.
Younglings.
Younglings. Yeah.
But
Youngling.
younglings tried by fire. Remember, if they've survived to this point after already battling Aiel, they're younglings, but they're not pushovers.
No.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Correct.
Yep. And he suspects that the plan was to wipe out his younglings. And also is regretting not killing Rand when he had the chance, but intends to keep his promise.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love the way he did it, because that's exactly how I would have thought about it too. It's like, yeah, I did not try to get rid of him, but I didn't try to get rid of him. Like,
I didn't
try to save
either.
him. Nope, not gonna help him. And I may or may not have pointed people in his direction. And you know, Min made her choice. And if I see him again, I'm probably gonna turn a blind eye if he's in trouble. And
Yeah.
and like anything I can do for him to die, except for literally kill him myself.
Yeah.
And had I known that my sister had a thing for him before I made that commitment, I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
Yep. And then after riding off to make camp, they get attacked.
Well, I mean, they
Well,
see
first they were scoping out another Aes Sedai that they thought he needed to save.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yes.
before they could really come up with a
that's
plan.
the part that bothers me. You know that they tried to kill you, but yet you're still gonna put your life out there and the
I
life
don't
of your
think- I don't know if he
man.
suspects them. I think he just suspects the IEL.
No, he did. He said it was.
Okay.
He named all of them.
Yeah.
as potentials.
Yeah, he does. He does
I'd have been
suspect.
done with the whole crew. I'd have been just okay. Y'all deal with your own stuff. I'm gonna take the little band here, and we're gonna go do our own thing.
Yeah, but Gawyn's the type who has to justify his actions through the following of some higher purpose. And I mean, let's go back to when shit was falling apart at the tower and which side he fell on and who he fought for. You know, he felt obligated to fight for the tower. What he saw as the tower and the new Armerlin.
Very true.
I don't.
Well, he actually, his motivation was actually he fought against him because he was mad at Swan for sending Elaine off on a secret mission that
Mhm.
he
Well,
got manipulated. He was manipulated into fighting for the tower, right?
True.
Like, and then so this is actually where like my criticisms of Gawyn comes in, is like, if his whole thing is to be loyal to his sister and his mother, he should just freaking go home.
Go.
But he
Yeah.
decided to stay. And he decided, like, even after, like, he's still deciding to stay. Like, part of that is he's like got loyalty to his other younglings at this point, right? And he doesn't want to abandon them. But I mean, that's like my biggest criticism of him as a character, is like he makes these terrible decisions. Like, you're saying he has some loyalty to a higher purpose. And I don't think that's true at all. Like, you could see that, like, his one higher purpose was being his sister's, like, Prince of the Sword.
Yes.
Well, and he defends the honor of that, like, by helping depose Swan.
I guess
Then he does nothing else.
Right. My point is more, he's the type of personality and character that, while he can do a lot and do great things, you know, he's no chump, right? He has to feel like he's serving a higher purpose. He's not the type, like, as of right now, and this might, if it's ever going to happen, it's with shit that's happening now. He doesn't seem like the person that's going to pull a Matt and try and break out on his own, even though Matt hasn't been able to, because he gets sucked back into Vera and all that shit. But he's not the type of character that's like, no, I have enough faith in myself and what I want, and these people follow me, and I'm just going to carve my own path. He's not that type of person. He doesn't have that in him. He needs to be following something or someone. Now, that something or someone might shift, and maybe he's a bit fickle, and maybe there's debates about, you know, he chooses a new thing to follow when it serves his purpose at the time, or maybe it doesn't make sense, but he's got to follow. He doesn't seem like the type to carve his own.
I do think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. Which is really kind of a knock at his character. I don't say that with any form of respect.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
he's like blindly following whatever he can, just something to throw his loyalty.
Well, it also means you to be able to do that and operate like that. That means you're able to shift your principles to justify whatever it is you want to do at the time. You know, follow someone else, follow a different path, follow some other purpose. You know, it's kind of shifting moral foundations, I guess. So,
yeah.
But he don't have it in him to just carve out a path on his own and say, fuck it, I'm going to go find my mom, or fuck it, I'm going to go, what he should do. I'm going to go find Elaine, and I'm going to be by her side. I know she's alive now. Gawyn told me that. I trust that. I'm going to go find her, whatever it takes.
Sure.
I'd respect that.
Agreed.
Yeah, that would be the best outcome.
And then they're attacked.
Yeah.
Shocker.
This was bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they handle it pretty well.
It could have turned out a whole. I'm sorry, slow your thunder. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm agreeing with you. Like, it could have turned out a whole lot worse. I expected them to be slaughtered, but I mean, they talked about it. These people have been trained well enough. There's 3 to a group. They stay back to back. You know, they have their horses trained to help out too. Like, this is really good battle strategy coming from our young hero here. And, you know,
how much have we been enamored with the Aiel, and we're all sitting here nodding, going, hey, it turned out okay, just because some of them survived an attack from the Aiel. What goal was accomplished?
They lived.
Some of them lived. Not all of them lived. Did they save the Aes Sedai they wanted to save? No. And we don't know from the perspective of the Aiel what the purpose of their attack was. So maybe the Aiel were completely successful in what it is they were trying to do, and we just don't know what that was. But we also know that this Aes Sedai is gone. So we accomplished nothing other than losing. Even if we lost one man, it's not a win. We survived. Some of us survived. I'm not as excited about this. I mean, yes, he's got a bunch of younglings, and yes, they were able to kill some Aiel. So everything we know about the Aiel and how they fight, we're like, well, that's awesome. But to what end right now? It was a loss. Their numbers are less. They the one mission they gave themselves in that split second to save that Aes Sedai, they failed it. They don't know where they're going next. In what way was that a win?
They didn't die.
Yeah, that's
I guess
the
against
win.
Aiel, that's okay.
Yeah,
I
that's the
wouldn't-
win.
I'll take it. I'm not gonna like it, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
If I was Gawyn, I would not look at that and go,
Yeah,
"All right, guys, we did it. High fives."
I'm not disagreeing with you, but they also had the chance to then go check for that Aiel. And Aiel may have gotten away. We just don't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I know y'all prep me to not like Gawyn, but like I don't know if I'm concerned for him because of him or because he's leading a group of a bunch of younglings that, they're young, impressionable, and my heart goes out to them, but they are in a really shitty spot.
You mean they're people his age?
Roughly, yeah. I mean, he's not that much older than him. But like strategically, so this is over, and my mind's already thinking, okay, you regroup, you check on your people, you tend to the wounded, and then what? Which direction do you go? Who do you try to contact? What do you do next?
Yeah, he kind of rudder list at this point.
Yeah, they're in a really shitty spot.
Try
But
to find a lane?
they can't just sit there and wander around and get picked off by more bands of Aiel. They have to pick a path. I kind of hope it is. Fuck it, let's just go find a lane. But they gotta like charge forward somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But they have no friends nearby.
Yeah.
They on their own. So
Camelin? But that's
I'm worried
Rand's
about him.
control. I don't know. Yeah.
they could. His last meeting with Rand wasn't so horrible. Like if he went to Camelin,
Yeah, it's not like
have him run
Rand
into
wants
Rand
to be
again.
dead.
Yeah.
I don't think Rand's indifferent.
Right. He wouldn't run into certain death going to Camelin. Rand would probably be like, I'm not happy about it, but I guess you kind of
Yeah.
belong here.
Nah.
Help me find your sister. Like that's who
Well,
I
I
want.
mean,
Oh.
Rand spends absolutely zero amount of time thinking about Gawyn, and
Right.
Gawyn spends all his time thinking about Rand.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So
True.
This going to Camelin would work. Going to Lane would work. I can't imagine
Yeah.
where else he would go.
literally anything else than what he's doing right now,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
moping.
Yeah. Agreed.
And that's how we end the prologue.
We did
So,
it. We made it
We
through.
did it. We made it through.
Congratulations, y'all. It's
Yeah.
one of the long ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything we missed? I'm sure there's plenty we missed, but
Oh, there's always. You can never hit it all. You can
Yeah.
never get it all.
any questions for them, Vince? Or
That's not what she said.
Oh. Mostly, my biggest thing is like how they feel about the tower now, because like with this prologue and obviously in the last book, you're starting to get a little bit more of a look at the inner workings of it and how it's going, and then you can like maybe compare and contrast that with the Saladar stuff. Just kind of like, how do you feel about each of those kind of directions for the Aes Sedai?
I don't know, Chris. Do you have an answer ready? I got something.
How do I feel about the tower and the Aes Sedai?
And like the differences between the like loyalist tower Aes Sedai, the Elida Aes Sedai, and the Saladar tower Aes Sedai.
Well, I mean, I guess the first thing is I don't really say that there's a loyalist versus a non-loyalist, because I'm sure there are plenty of people in the actual tower that are going to side with Rand once the time comes. I don't doubt
Or even
that.
a Gawyn if that time comes
Or-
before the Rand time.
Exactly. I don't
Right.
doubt that. I think it's just situational. Right now, they're Aes Sedai going to Aes Sedai. They're
Mhm.
keeping the peace as best they can, learning as much as they can learn, positioning themselves individually, and then as groups to be ready to flip the script the moment the time is necessary. That's my take on that. So I don't really hold anything against the ones that, I mean, it was even admitted there are people in the tower that have not been there for 50 years. I might be
Mhm.
exaggerating the time frame, but like they don't know what's going on. They rush back to be in a place that they were told to be. And then we have those that really do know what's going on, who are still loyal to Swan's initial cause. And
Well, the few that were in the know.
the few that were in the know, and the minute they get the opportunity to make the tower whole again, they're going to.
Mhm.
So that's not directly answering your question, because I feel like in the end, it's all going to work out.
Okay. Well, I mean, no, it does kind of answer it. Like that lets me know like how you're feeling, where you think it's going to go.
Yeah.
Which
I
is-
don't have any negative. The only person I have negative thoughts for is Elida. And I don't even really have negative thoughts towards her. She had these foretellings,
Mhm.
and she thought she had positioned herself to be the one to reap the benefit. And I mean, if you got this
Mhm.
power, why not take advantage of it? I mean,
Yeah.
anybody
Mhm.
Try
who
and be
sees
strategic.
opportunity is going to
Mhm.
take opportunity.
See, that's I actually like that assessment right there. It's like you're like, well, crap, what would most people do in her situation?
Yeah.
Actually, it's like,
I
I've
mean, it'd
got
be
some
one thing if
power.
like her, it'd be
Yeah.
one thing if she like freaked out. It's like, oh, Gawyn Alvear is going to be, and then she tried to position herself. Then I'd be like, okay, yeah, she's a sleazeball, but
She's been
that's
working
not
this
what's
angle for a
happened.
while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
long
been
time.
working it probably longer than her name. I just drew the blank. Darn it, the Amerlin, the
Swan?
original Swan.
Swan.
She's been
Yeah.
working this angle since before Swan and
Mhm.
Moraine got together.
Yeah. Well, for a long time for sure.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
in-
cannot wait for y'all to get to New Spring. Actually, now.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Alan, when are you making them read that?
Is that when Moraine comes back?
I'm doing it in publication order, I think. So it's not
Okay.
going to be till after Winter's Heart.
So yeah, so they've got one more book. Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
well,
This
two more
book
books.
is in Winter's Heart. Well,
No,
this book,
and
yeah, which
Path
one
of
they just
Daggers.
started.
Path of Daggers.
Oh, I always forget about Path of Daggers. Oh my god.
Then
Oh,
Winter's Heart.
that's gonna clue them
It'll be
in.
3
into
years.
how much
It'll
I
be
enjoy that.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
I might be
We'll get there
exaggerating by a week
Yeah.
or two, but
I want a certain character to show up in these books, so they're not
That's
There's a certain,
fair.
there's a
Yeah.
certain big character that shows up later.
Mhm.
I think in Path of Daggers. Pretty
So
sure.
Vance, can I take a stab at your question? I wanted Chris to go first.
Yeah,
So
go
I'm gonna start answering by asking a question. You mentioned, the White Tower, the Loyalists, then you got the rebels, whatever you want to call them, the Saladar group.
Mhm.
And because of that, we say the tower is broken. When did the tower become broken? When did that happen? What would you say?
Well, all right. So there's two ways to answer this question. The first way is the tower was initially broken during the end of the Age of Legends when the male Aes Sedai all went insane and were no longer allowed to be part of the tower thing. That's the first, kind of long-winded
You're
thing.
too smart.
But if you are talking about specifically how the Third Age Aes Sedai, women only, view themselves, it would be when Swan was deposed and the rebels went off. But I get what you're saying at, because you were talking about this earlier with the whole lack of balance aspect, which is, I mean, you guys have picked up on that by now. That's a big theme running throughout the series. Is Jordan was big on this theme of balance, and that he thinks things are out of balance in this particular world he's created, and that they need to bring the balance back.
Yeah.
And that, the greatest accomplishments happen when people come together and work as a cohesive unit. But you were seeing that there's all of these different factions, especially in this. You're really getting into the meat of the series now, where you're going to see a lot of factionalism happening. And a lot more politics, because I think up to this point, really, it's been a lot more direct, our main characters are doing lots of things directly. And they're going to start hitting those walls as their power and influence grows. You've seen Perrin become a lord, for example. And
he's
you've
loved
seen
that.
Rand have control of 3 nations.
Perrin
has
nowhere near reached his apex.
Yeah, I agree. That beard's gonna get bigger.
Yeah,
I know. Those eyes are gonna get brighter. Those claws are gonna get longer. Like, he's gonna be real wolf-like, and he's gonna have a whole legion of wolf people.
Oh, nice. I like that. The Perrin's are gonna have wolf people.
Yes,
nice.
Put that one on the theory spreadsheet, Alan. Perrin's gonna have an army of wolf people.
Okay.
Well, Vance, I guess that gives me hope that I started making my point well enough earlier, because you literally answered exactly where I was going to go with this. I will say In addition to that, my hope lies more
Is it the daughter of the 9 moons, Alan?
No,
my
It's not the daughter of the 9 moons.
but
no.
Oh.
But everybody else knows who I'm talking about.
Does the daughter of the 9 moons like moon him 9 times? Is that why he?
Yeah,
Hey.
exactly. I'm not sure she
All right,
should.
Light Blinded
Okay.
Fool is calling me out here a little
I
bit.
like 9
Technically, it
butts
was the
and I
Hall
cannot
of
lie.
Servants that was broken, but I mean,
Yeah. Well,
it's an organization of Aes Sedai.
since
what we're-
I guess what I was saying, since I'm thinking about it on that bigger picture of the balance portion, the tower as it was as we started reading these books had no chance of making it there. There was too many things like built into that institution and culture that would prevent them from ever getting there.
Right.
So what's left of the tower in Elida, and yeah, we're kind of freaking out. There's Black Ajah and Forsaken there or whatever, but it needs to be destroyed. That whole mindset and everything. So my faith is more in, and my hope is in what Egwene's doing. And we feel she has all this potential, and I'm a huge Egwene fan right now. And the more people she could convince, and she's already starting to convince Swan, and she already has this relationship with Rand, and maybe you find a way to get this crossover, this balance between the male and female. I know it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen quickly, but I feel like destroying what was so that you can, well, or what is now, because I guess what was, you can go way back, but destroying what is now, because it's not functional, gives you a better opportunity to maybe find what you were supposed to be, or maybe what once was.
You got it. Yeah.
Yes.
I like that assessment a lot, and I like the way you're thinking about it. And that's, you could see that that's another thing that Jordan kind of hammered on with, like shattering the Aiel to start with, right?
Yeah.
And like in the prophecies, he talks about like he'll break the world again to save the world and all this stuff. So yeah, I like where your headspace is for that, for sure.
But before Google Maps and even before MapQuest, I remember taking a ride out to try and find this hike near Crabtree Falls. This is the first time I was out there, and I got lost, and I pulled over and went to the gas station and asked the dude how to get to this landmark, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "You can't get there from here." And I feel like that's what the White Tower that we were introduced is like. They don't have a path to get to where we need to go to fix things.
I thought you were going to your roommate's directions on how to get there, because they were.
Oh, that was the best.
Yeah, his roommate wrote, like, rather than just writing like turn right here, like he wrote like basically like poetry, like a story. Like he's like, I can't remember exactly
With
the word,
colorful landmarks that
and pictures. Like, so
it
it's
seemed
like
impossible, but it worked perfectly.
like no road names, no directions left or right. Just like you'll see the Big Apple, and then upon seeing the Big Apple, you'll have to bear right slightly. It's like
head
what?
towards the field of cows, but not the one with the spotted cows. You want the black cows, and da, 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 da. And the landmark, like he literally had me turn at a pile of sticks, and I was like, "What if that pile of sticks has been moved?" And when I came up on it, it was a massive pile of sticks, and apparently they've been piling sticks there for centuries. The biggest fucking pile of sticks, and I was like.
It was a big pile of sticks.
Like, how am I going to know which pile of sticks? And when I saw it, I was like, "That's the pile of sticks. We're turning here."
Yeah. This reminds me of a story my dad tells me. So my dad spent like 20 years living in New Jersey. It's pretty heavily populated state.
I'll pray for his soul.
Yeah, as every week. Yeah, he's kind of happy to not be there anymore. But he moved from there to Northeast Alabama, rural Northeast Alabama. Yeah. And he just like married my mom and stuff. And I think this is right, like not too long before I was born, but there was a barbecue place in town in Scottsboro, Alabama, which was the big city for the county.
Yeah.
And so he worked there, and my mom called him and said, "Hey, this barbecue restaurant's running a special. You get like 3 pounds for so many bucks or something like that. So swing by and pick some up after you get off work." And he said, "All right, well, how do I get there?" And she said, well, you just go down and you turn this way and that way, and then you go past this old landmark, this like church. And he's like, well, that doesn't tell you how to get there. So we'll ask one of your coworkers. So he went to one of his coworkers. He asked him, hey, do you know how to get to this barbecue restaurant? My wife wants you to pick it up. He said, oh, yeah, I know how to go. You just go down. You go down Main Street here, and then you turn left at the old shoe factory. It's not a shoe factory anymore, but it used to be.
Right. And you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, you'll know it when you see it. He's like, but if it's not a shoe factory anymore, how do I know which one's the old shoe factory? He's like, you'll know it. Trust me.
That's how they give directions out there. Yeah.
That's how they give directions pretty much everywhere in the South, actually.
Yeah.
I've never lived in a
always
place.
give directions.
Yeah.
I don't know the names of the streets.
And,
Right.
Yeah.
and oddly enough, it works. If you pay attention, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he had only been at that place for like a little while, so he didn't know it really well. But
So
Yeah,
the
he's
real
like,
question is how to get
old shoe
home.
factory.
Well, if you find the right girl, it don't matter.
So
Yeah, I reckon.
I reckon.
Y'all all
Okay.
go left.
Now that's what I used to do. With
I
all
do.
my
I like
relationships.
this. Like
recommend.
Iris Bear made fun of me for calling Scottsboro the big city when I think anyone who knows that town, it knows it's not a big city at all. It is very
Yeah.
small.
Right.
It's
So
the
favorite-
big city for the county.
I
Okay.
gave you a chuckle. There's
Yeah.
a farmer's market there, so that's where they
Yeah.
all come together.
Right.
Favorite character? Go.
Padden Fane. I'm kidding. I feel like he's been pulling the strings behind all this from
That's
the
a good one.
background, but
Talmanis.
I'm gonna have to go with Taim, but from a different perspective.
Ooh.
Yeah. We saw his shit coming out towards the Shido, and they ran away, and that was great.
All right.
I still can't get over what he was able to do with those men in that short amount of time. It's majorly sus, but for them to fight together so like well and organized, and it was impressive. It's suspect.
was it Gawyn that we had here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
I'm
forgot.
gonna have to give it to Gawyn just because he made some really good calls and saved the life of the majority of his men. He held up to his side of his word to Gawyn. Like, I know you don't care for him, Alan, but he did it. Like,
I'm glad you picked that. Yep. I'm glad for that pick.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Think about the
that's a
battle he
solid
made
pick.
it out of. Wow.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
talking about characters in the prologue, that's a solid pick.
Yeah.
Patron Niall. Not because he
Nice.
died,
Yeah.
just because he's the wholesome character in this entire.
Well, and then in that, I like we
The
didn't
only
talk
White Club I
about it.
cared about.
We didn't talk about it, but as he was dying, it was like, I've got to get that paper. Like
Mhm.
through and through, his mind
Still
was,
fighting
oh
for
my
the mission.
God, I can't believe that I'm dying. I can't believe that he did
Mhm.
this. It was somebody must know what's on this paper. It
Right.
just
Continue
sucks
mission.
that he even like reached out, had his finger pointing at the paper. They picked the paper up, and then what happened? All the ink was washed away by wine. Really?
Mhm.
That happens in my
Really?
life every day after 9 p.m.
That like really frustrated me because I thought, okay, here's a good thing that happened. You know, he may have died, but he succeeded in making sure that somebody got this very vital piece of news that we don't know already, or maybe we do know it and we don't realize that we know it.
Oh, we
I
don't know
wanna
what we
know.
know.
It's the FOMO, man. That's
Mhm.
what Jordan does best. He creates FOMO.
Oh,
Like,
that's
we
true.
had no
Speaks-
idea what was on that paper.
Speaking of ruining things, I have this book that I take notes in, but my son found it, so he decides to draw pictures now on every page. So now
Cool.
I have volcanoes and giant.
Next week we're talking about triangles, circles, and trees.
I like it.
No, there's a tree there. So
Yeah,
Uh,
that looked like Brussels sprouts. Actually,
Yeah.
a Pac-Man character, you know.
Oh yeah, one of the Pac-Man
I'm not gonna
guys.
tell you what that looks like. I put googly eyes on mine, and that shit was hilarious. You should try it sometime.
Poor Meredith. She's like, he looks so manly until I saw the googly eyes.
Next
No matter
time
what-
on the Will Reads.
What about me and my favorite character?
What
From
is
the
Oh, yeah,
your
go for it, go for
favorite
it.
character,
Yeah.
Alviarin, hands down.
Yeah.
I like her a lot. I think she's fun. She's totally, terrible, but I love just in Elida's point of view how she just twists
with everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much fun to watch her poke at
Well,
Elida.
And the fact that
Yes.
she's having the fun was layered because not
Mhm.
only was she having her own fun, but she's having the chosen one's fun on top of that.
Mhm.
So it was like layered fun. And even she
Yeah.
doesn't understand everything that's going on. And I agree with you. She's my second favorite character
Mhm.
because she is bit by bit gaining an authority and knowledge.
Mhm.
And I feel like over time she's going to be a much greater character.
And isn't she in the way she's doing it also slowly exposing Elida as kind of a fraud?
Yeah.
She's poking
Not to
at,
everybody else, but to Elida herself and to
but maybe that's the first step, and then you start to reveal that, or start to do it around other people, or you start the rumor mill. Anyways, very clever.
Yeah.
I guess.
I like where y'all are going with the
Yeah.
thought. I'll neither confirm nor deny anything,
Yeah.
but I like it.
So next time in the Will Reads, we'll be doing 2 chapters, chapter 1 and 2, which are High Chasseline, and The Butcher's Yard.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Dana, I completely agree. I love competence in my bad guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
competent villain makes the story have stakes, right? Like I don't like it when they're too good or too powerful.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Right.
I appeared out of nowhere, totally changed this scenario because now I'm here.
Right.
Or too
New magic
Yeah.
you've never heard of that just overpowers
Yeah.
everybody. Like,
Yeah,
that's
right,
not fun.
exactly.
Yeah.
Did you say The Butcher's Yard?
Yeah, The Butcher's Yard.
That's Matt and Taim. This gonna be a chapter all about him. Right after the great pop, the pimple pop.
Okay.
Chris,
Okay.
where's Logain going? Is he going to team up, or is he going to be an adversary to Taim, to Rand?
I think he's just gonna disappear for a few books.
Okay.
He better not get spotlight.
Jordan
The
would
fact-
do that.
The
Just let
fact that
him
we lost
wander.
Perrin for like a book and a half, he needs to wander.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I feel like there's going to be some confrontational, joining of strong male channelers. There's going to be a coming to a head.
Oh yeah, he's
sooner
definitely
rather
going to go join Rand, and I think there is going to be some stress between him and Matt and Taim, and
than- Yeah.
I can see that, but at the same time,
And I just hear
he had
Butcher,
this-
and I think of the meat grinder. And now I'm thinking about male channelers, and maybe some shit happens.
yeah.
Sounds good. Well,
We're
Vance,
probably
thank you
completely
for
wrong.
coming on again.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean it's a blast.
Love you,
Yeah.
man.
We love you. Tell
We
people about
appreciate
where people can find the Bard of the Red Hand and listen to all your wonderful stuff.
Yeah, so I'm over at YouTube at the Bard of the Red Hand. I have various Wheel of Time videos. It's been a little slower this year. I've slowed down on my content, just kind of taking a break because I know as soon as season 2 starts dropping, we got to hit it hard, and that was rough. It was a lot harder making those episodes right after watching them during season 1 and like trying to make content on that and. Within a week, you're trying to get like at least one video, maybe 2 or 3 out. And that was rough. So I've been slowing it down here a little bit. I think coming up next, I'm going to review the Origins of the Wheel of Time by
I
Michael
saw
Livingston.
that.
Yeah, it was a fantastic read. I've not made it all the way through the glossary yet, but I'm through all the like actual like book, like readable portion of it. And that was just fantastic. It had multiple moments that made me like cry because especially in that magic prologue he writes there.
Magic's not real. Magic's not real.
I was
Magic's real.
I was that freaking kid, right? Like that's I think that was everybody.
His whole
to some degree,
the part where he talks about his time in Vietnam. Origins of the Wheel of Time is a book by Michael Livingston. A quick plug for him. Go check it out. It's a book written about how Robert Jordan came up with the idea and like basically not a biography, but kind of like a biography, but like more of where the Wheel of Time came from, how he got his ideas, what is Robert Jordan's backstory, like, and just kind of an in-depth look at all of that. And then the glossary section, which is half the book, is just going through each character, place, thing, and talking about where in the real world are what other works did he pull from to come up with names and places and concepts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
you guys
it
can't
is,
read that yet.
So it is a little spoilery because you get to some things that are later, but at least for like parts of it, like just like especially this time in Vietnam and things he talks about, and I never served, but I know Ian can probably relate to that. He talks about how a lot of people ask about his time serving, how you compartmentalize, and how most people don't talk about it. And he says, yes, it does bleed through. Robert Jordan's interviews and notes it talked about how it did influence a lot of his writing, and some stories were taken from his time there. But the war's a horrible thing. Is basically what it came down to.
It's a good summary.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's all I got. So how we can found The Will Reads. Go check us out on thewillreads.com. Find links to everything. Join us on Patreon. We will be doing more live reaction readings for our higher tier patrons. I'm not sure which chapters. I have at least one chapter I definitely want to do from this book, but we'll probably do a few. But I just need to figure out which ones I want to do.
Send your suggestions.
Yeah, send suggestions on what chapters we should do for these books. Not the next two because we're not doing this. But yeah. Yeah. Well, that I don't have time right now. Wait till after Christmas. So like till we're middle of the book.
Right.
Next suggestions.
Shit, it's not the middle of the book. After Christmas is like 5 chapters in.
Shh.
Don't give us hope.
We've been doing this long enough, Alan. You ain't get pulled the wool over our eyes.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah, that's like I said, like us on all the different social media. Check out our merch. Write a review. We've got a few of them. We got another one recently that was really good. It's a Gawyn review, and I do enjoy those. I enjoy the weird ones too because those are funny and good.
Yeah,
even the negative ones.
Oh, I loved that one negative review that you showed me.
Great.
Yeah, it was like, I listened to this podcast for the Wheel of Top stuff, but they just spend so much time talking about their personal. I was like, dude, that's like what this podcast is. It's 50% of this podcast is keeping up with 90, the host.
90%.
90. At least, really, let's be real.
But if you want to, the actual personal life section, you could just fast forward through it and get to real time content. But I can't guarantee we're not going to get into stories along the way. That part I can't fix.
No way. Everyone's experiences and how they relate to the series are the reasons that like I even follow podcasts like this, right? Like I want to know about the people reading the book, so then I understand their experience of how they're seeing things, right?
You guys want a secret? This is an excuse for Ian, Chris, and I just to drink together and tell stories.
Correct.
And then we just have a book that kind of follows along while we do it.
That's great.
I mean,
we don't even have to be in the same room.
You can see the evolution of our lives and just how our content has changed and how engaged we are. Like,
I'm waiting for Darkened Stories to just be a spinoff podcast.
Yeah,
that's still got potential.
It still has potential. I'm just worried about more of anyway, I can talk about that.
I'm worried about my liver.
Worried about liver. Worried about other things. So don't want to get too far into some of those things. Anyway,
had we done that, I'd have more children by now.
Yeah,
You're right, Dana. A drinking club with a book. There we go.
Yeah, that's where we are. Yep. So
if you really want to get interesting, start sending us all different bottles of whiskey and bourbon. That's what that's how we should have started this. Was getting people to send us their favorite so we could sample it.
Oh man, give him shout out.
So there's a shortage of bourbon in Virginia. I went over to my friend's house for a housewarming. You know how many bottles of Blanton's he had?
Oh.
There's a
There's
a shortage of bourbon in Virginia. Y'all are next door.
That's because that's where Alan lives. So
okay.
Well, that's because we have people like my friend who had a housewarming party, went there last weekend, and he had over 100 bottles of Blanton's.
Oh my god,
that's a lot.
And I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I've actually got in the charts for the shipping trucks for the local liquor stores, and I show up on shipping day and buy them out, so I have them all." So then he's selling them on third market, which is illegal. So I'm not gonna say who it is, but he's selling them, selling them third market, are trading them for even more rare bourbons.
Yeah.
So now he's been able to get like 2 bottles of Pappy and like a bunch of other stuff too. But like he's
Ooh,
basically
stuff.
getting bottles that are super hard to find because like apparently it's a whole gimmick where they're going
Yes,
through.
it is. The liquor
then-
law is hard. It's hard to run by.
So they're just
Virginia.
waiting for the
It's so
trucks
hard.
to show up. He's there at the store to buy them out completely, and then he turns around and sells them all for profit, which is illegal. But that's what he's doing, and that's why there's a shortage because like he's not the only one doing this. Apparently, there's like a ton
That's
of it.
technically that's like almost like right next to that line of bootlegging, which
It's
by the
really
way still
close to
exists.
bootleg.
Yeah.
Bootlegging still exists in North
Right.
Alabama, by the way. People go up to
Oh, it's still
Tennessee
in
and then
Virginia,
drive
too?
back. Yeah, I know. It's
Oh,
crazy.
bitch.
It's like people you think that went away though. Like you think bootlegging went away. It's like still happening
No,
Yeah.
because we have
no.
because y'all are like part of the South in Virginia,
Mhm.
whether you
Yeah.
want to be or
It's
not. Like, Virginia's-
colonial
yeah,
South.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like here in the South, we have these dumb mixed like dry counties where you can't buy liquor in the
Yeah.
county at all.
They have
It's
some
so-
out in
you-
Western Virginia. Yeah,
yeah.
there's dry counties.
Yeah,
Even
Yeah,
the
so
dry Sundays,
people
that's
bootleg.
prevalent in a lot of
Oh
Alabama.
my god, yes.
So
I
people
mean, it's been
form
the
private
last-
clubs. So at the private
It's-
club, you can
Yeah.
serve. On
It's
Sundays
been
by
within the
Sundays.
last, I think, 5 years that they've actually started selling liquor on Sundays.
Yes,
it
correct.
was-
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah.
more than 5 years ago, there was no
That's
liquor on
true.
Sundays.
I'm just
I
I just
remember you couldn't
dream
buy that
of
from 9
living at a
o'clock
place
either.
where I was just gonna say I just dream of living in a place where I don't have to drive 20 minutes to buy booze.
Yeah.
We used to not be able to buy it in our grocery store. It's the only beer. There's no wine. There's no liquor. And then
I
Also-
So
don't-
there's still no liquor in Virginia. And, I mean, you have to go to
Correct.
so in Virginia, all the liquor stores are state run, which is
yes.
Yeah.
freaking.
That's a
Yeah.
whole nother conversation.
That's a whole
Alabama
nother-
used
that's
to
a whole
have
other
that, yeah.
conversation.
I think Alabama used to have something similar to that.
Welcome to Dark and Story.
Still have it.
that's all
Episode
I-
1.
Arkansas is not that bad. We have private run stores. It's just we have dry counties,
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway,
and I
That's all I
live in
got
a
for this
dry
week.
county.
Until next time.
Get a drink.
Go get some
Peace.
drink.
okay, bye.